Beautiful.
Hopefully that'll do, mate.
We should be ready to rumble. Right, take 2.
I bloody hope so. Fingers crossed.
Folks, welcome to episode 4, Lamb Chops.
It's me.
We had
Hi,
a
guys.
slight issue. We did this on Friday, wasn't it? Friday night we did it.
Friday night, a few beers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had a great time. 2.5 odd hours, and the audio didn't work. so it's now Sunday morning, Easter Sunday morning, substituted coffee.
Yeah. The beer has been substituted for tea.
Look at you with
Made
your branded mugs.
brewed.
Both with what a bunch of tarts.
It's like, which
Link
mug
down
shall
below.
I use? It's got to be that one.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is made properly brewed. This is the water and tea bag, then the milk afterwards. And the traditional way to make tea.
Yeah,
none of that.
Have you tried milk first?
Nonsense.
Have you tried it?
Well, I don't need to try it,
No qualified opinion then, is that? No
Well,
qualified opinion?
I have to try it. Well, you need that heat to infuse the tea bag. You need that boiling water to infuse the tea properly. So
Yeah,
got milk in it.
I used to think that. Honestly, I used to think that, and then you just need a tiny drab of milk, not much at all, just a tiny little dribble of milk in, then put the water in, and I've ran a little experiments with my missus because she
You've
is
been
a
all
tea.
technical with it, have you?
She is a tea connoisseur, and I'll do
Really?
milk first, and I'll do some milk after, and ask her, and she always picks, without knowing, she always picks the milk first.
Does she? Okay, I'm going to have to try it then now. You convinced me to try it. That's our
Give it a go.
feedback, folks.
It's like riding a Harley. You've got to give it a go before you form an
You've
opinion.
got to try it before you cut. That is very true. Okay, mate, I'll try it. Just for you, I'll try it.
Thanks. How you doing anyway, mate? You all right?
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. Living the life indoors as we all are at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm just so pleased. 2 things. I've got a garden to go out in the garden.
Yeah.
I mean, people in flats and stuff. I don't know how they're managing.
Yeah.
I'm also very pleased I don't have any young children to try and entertain. And I've got a garage and a project to work on. So. As far as it goes, I'm one of the lucky ones, really.
Well, one of my cousins, she does have a garden, but she has 10 kids.
10
10 kids.
Oh,
Mind you, I think at least one is away from home now. She's away at uni. Oh, no, she'll be back now. Obviously, she'll be back because unis have shut. Oh.
Of course, yeah.
So 10 kids to try and keep occupied. It must be an utter nightmare.
What age ranges? What, all...
From
That's some big old
21,
ranges,
22, right down to a newborn right now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't fancy that.
I don't think they've got a TV.
Obviously not, that goes without saying.
You're right. If you haven't, those people stuck in flat, I understand why people are going out to the parks and stuff. I get it, but, God, just what a nightmare of a situation.
Horrendous. Mm.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's enough of the C word.
That's enough of the C word, isn't it? It's kind of dragging on now, isn't it? I just...
just
need it over and done with. However it's going to happen.
I completely agree.
But anyway.
I completely agree, mate.
Right, so the format, we did run through some of these questions, folks, because I say we've already done the podcast, so we didn't by any means do all the questions. There were probably a good 50-60 questions which we didn't get through across all the social media, so thank you very much to everybody that sent them through. So we'll try and mix it up a bit. All right, we'll go through.
Yeah, it's quite good that we didn't get through them all, isn't it? Otherwise, we'd be like, we've done all that. Yeah, it would have been a bit repetitive, wouldn't it? And so that's the good news.
So we fire off now. I mean, bear in mind, we kicked off really early on Friday when we did this with the questions. Normally, there's like a 20-minute, half-hour chat. We kind of went straight in, and it still took us 2.5 hours. So. And
must have been a lot of ums and ahs going on.
I know, yeah. And a lot of beer being drunk as well.
Yeah.
You're on your battery, aren't you, for your camera?
I'm on my battery, so we'll have to do a battery swap. I've got a load of charged batteries here, so that's not a problem. Yeah.
Lovely job.
I'll keep my eye on it.
We shall crack off then. And crack off? Wait, we'll crack on even.
Crack one off. Oh, no, right.
As is usual, we'll go with, I'll mention it once, the Patreon side of things, patreon.com/TeapotOne. I'll go with the clan questions first. Pete English, if someone give you a box full of every single item you'd ever lost, what would be the first thing that you would search for?
Now, this was a good one. We did have this one last time, didn't we?
Yeah, this made us
And we
ponder
didn't
a lot.
You didn't answer this, Bruce. You were going to come back to this one, so this is the perfect time for you to
no.
come back to this question.
Right, okay.
Wasn't it? So I had an answer. Two sort of things. One was both lost in this garage somewhere.
Yep.
One was a video camera my missus bought me, like a camcorder. This is a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Camcorder for doing the sort of like the outside stuff with the vlogging. I lost that. I don't know where it went. I used to have the bin underneath this like workbench, and the only thing I could think of is I've been sorting through stuff and it's fallen off the workbench and gone into the bin, and then obviously gone in the trash. So
Yeah.
it's completely gone. The other one was like a leather wristband, which the missus bought me again.
Nice.
And it had the GPS coordinates of the church we got married on. That also disappeared somewhere in the garage. Never, even though I've had this garage completely out, both those things never to be seen. So yeah, that's the two thing I'd look for. And that, well, to get some brownie points for the missus mainly.
Yeah, definitely.
If I found them, should be you found them. Well, actually, the camera. I don't know if I should say this. You won't watch this. I actually bought another one. Exactly the same. I found it, dear. Oh, there it is.
Did you?
So yeah. She's. I'm never buying you anything again. So I actually bought another one, and I found it. She won't watch. We should have saved this question to the end. She won't watch. She won't watch it. I'm only joking. Go on, Bruce. It's your turn for this one now.
I'm just thinking on the hoof here, because you're right. I didn't answer this last time, did I? Do you know
It's a good question. It's not an easy one, is it? It's a really good question.
Pete's actually put some cracking questions in on these podcasts, so just that, Pete. I think every single item I'd ever lost. Do you know I've got no pictures from sort of my mid to late teens, more or less right up until I started all this. Till
really,
yeah, I just don't have any. Cause do you remember the old pictures with a film camera? And I don't think I had one, so it was always other people taking the pictures. So I sort of lost, if you like.
Lost your youth.
I've lost all those like 20, 30 years. All the pictures of my son when he was a wee baby. Well, his mum had the camera, so she's got all the pictures. I've got a few copies that you know, she passed through to me, and pictures that my mum and dad and stuff had taken, but I never had a camera myself until I got the phone with a camera in it. But I suppose I was quite late to the party with all that. So there's a massive chunk of my life where I haven't got pictures, and I would like that.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I had we won't go on too long, but I had a similar thing. I've lost the last 20 years worth of pictures I've lost because I've got the ones on the film. I've got the ones we used to have film. It's when that digital first came in, and no one backed stuff up. There was no Dropbox. There was none of that. So all of my pictures are on the PC, which of course eventually hard drive crashed and broke.
You lose everything.
And so I've actually lost a load of pictures. Yeah. So similar thing really.
Yeah.
But that won't keep the missus happy. So we go with my previous answers.
Right. Andrew Scott, what is the Roman numeral for 0? Well, we actually Googled this, didn't we? And there is no Roman numeral for 0.
Trick question.
But apparently they used nulla. The Latin for 0 is nulla, isn't it? I remember that.
That's right.
School day. Every day's a school day. What else we got here? The Yorkshire Biker 93. If you had a chance to time travel, when and where would you go?
Good question. Yeah, I being a kid at heart, I would go back to the dinosaur era. I think to see some dinosaurs. I mean, you'd have to be pretty quick on your feet. Maybe take an off-road enduro bike with you, so you could get away and stuff. But yeah, I'd love to go back. But as you know, but is it to stay? Or is it just to visit?
Yeah,
because I wouldn't want to stay there. Yeah, no. we mentioned that the other night, didn't we? But I'd be back to see dinosaurs, just to see the spectacle, you know, what that would be. But I wouldn't want to stay there. Probably half an hour.
That'll do.
Would be enough. Yeah, that'll be enough.
Quick look at a brontosaurus. None of that meat-eating rubbish. And let's get back.
Exactly. Straight home again.
Get me back to YouTube.
What about you?
I think for me, I said back to the sort of Highland days, didn't I? I said back to the sort of William Wallace. Yeah. I would like to go back and just see what that sort of life was like. but I know it would be brutally hard. So yeah, like you,
Brutal.
half hour,
Brutal.
back we come. Thanks very much.
I could see you with the blue half blue face, Bruce.
I'll be coming for you. Be coming for your ancestors, Chopsy.
Where's my red coat?
Ooh. Oh, this was a good one. Bully 27. A beautiful sunny day on a bad bike, or a crappy weather on a good bike.
Yeah. So I think this has to be a sunny day on a crap bike.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Reason being, you can go out, you can go out in the cave, and it's a crap bike. You can go out, have a nice little poodle through the countryside, taking the views. Riding a bike, being out, the freedom of it. No matter if it's a crap bike, you can still enjoy that.
Yeah, absolutely.
On a good bike in crap weather, it's no fun, no matter what you're riding, really. You can't go quick. You can't throw the bike around. If it's cold, I know you can wear the right gear and all that, but it's still pretty miserable riding in crap weather. And how crap's the weather if you're talking snow? So yeah, I'm definitely a crap bike in nice weather.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, definitely, 100%. Mark Walsh, has Lamb Chops ever just left a motorcycle standard and not played about with it?
Never. I've always, even when I had little 50s and 125s, it would always be stickers. We'd go down to Rafferty Newman's in Southsea, which was like the nearest sort of bike dealer at the time, and they used to have a big box full of different stickers and stuff, and we'd be like a Saturday morning, couple of quid on some stickers, So even back then, in those days, I was putting stickers on. My first bike actually was a heavily modified MBX 50, which is a Honda. It's sort of like a 50cc sports bike, sort of bike. It would do 70 because it was geared ridiculously low gearing. I bought this bike, and because I was a big guy even back then, even when I was 16, I was still a big lad, and this thing was 50cc, geared for 70 miles an hour, first bike I'd ever owned, and I just couldn't get on with it because, of course, you had to wring its neck just to get it to pick up any speed because the gearing was just ridiculously tall. And I think I had it for about a week, and then my mate had a DT50, so a trial-y type 50, and we actually did a swap because everyone wanted this bike, which was renowned to do 70 miles an hour, but not with me on it. Yeah. And so I swapped it for a 50, and that was much better. Yeah. So even my first bike was so heavily modified, it was unrideable. so that was it's a good start, wasn't it?
And that just set the standard forevermore.
Yeah, that set the tone for all the bikes I ever had. Yeah, just about.
So basically, Chopsy is always like to fiddle. Always.
I like a fiddle in the garage.
TeapotOne, what will be your next bike and why? Probably the way things are at the moment. I'm sorry to say, but it would probably just be the 1250 GS. Just it does everything I need. It's not got the hooligan element of the KTM or the Ducatis, but it's reliable. It's really refined. That 1250 engine, I think, is amazing. Really makes a difference, I think, for me personally.
It is an excellent all-rounder. Yeah. There's no denying it is a bike that you can do everything, can't it? And it'll do everything fairly well. That is the surprise with it. I mean, I've ridden like a lot of the different. I never ridden a venture bike until I started doing this. I wasn't interested in adventure bikes, but if you're looking just to munch miles, there's nothing better for mile munching, is there? No. That is the thing with them. And the GS still has that. It still handles amazingly well.
It's nuts.
Out in Torah. You can really enjoy it through the twisties, and a lot of the adventure bikes you can't do that. I don't know if it's because of they have like a 19-inch front wheel on those. Is it? Is it a 19 front? It's not a 21, is it? It's definitely
it's not 21. It might be 19. Might be a bit less. Can't remember.
Yeah, but you still got that sort of road biased handling because it's just the way the whole suspension's set up. And it's a sort of sporty position as well. Yeah. For an adventure bike, so yeah, they are good bikes.
It's just that maybe. It's that utilitarian aspect of it. It does everything. You can strap I have strapped a suitcase to the back of the thing. You can strap a whole load of luggage on there. You can do 800 miles if you want down the motorway, get to the mountains, pull off the motorway, spank it round the twisties, and then if you're an utter nutter anyway and you see a little track at the side of the road, you're literally on the hoof. You can push a couple of buttons straight into off-road mode, and it's perfectly capable off road as well.
It'll do it, won't it?
It just does it, as you said. Or you can stop off at the racetrack and you can hustle that thing around the racetrack.
You did, yeah.
It's amazing what it does.
You had your knee down on it, didn't you?
Yeah,
you had your knee down, didn't you, around Bedford?
I think it's easier to get for me. It's easier for me to get my knee down on the GS than it was on the Gixxer.
Was it knee first or head first? What's the order?
With me, it's normally knee, shoulder, head, back, arse, knee, shoulder, head, back, arse. Yeah. Yeah. No, I find it really easy to ride like that. It's just an amazing bike. Although I did like, and we chatted about this before, on Friday, didn't we? With the KTM's, I had the Super Adventure. And then went to the GT, and everyone was telling me, even KTM, they were like, if you like the Super Adventure, you are going to love the GT. And I did like the GT; it was good, but it was almost, looking back now, it was almost too refined. And I really liked that sort of raw, animal, brutal power that the Super Adventure has. And if you change the tyres from off-roady based or semi-off-road to road-based, it transforms the bike and you get rid of that speed wobble at sort of triple-digit speeds. The Super Adventure has a wobble in the front. Excuse me. Yeah. If you put road tyres, it gets rid of that. So I've been reliably informed.
Yeah. That is another good bike, and that is more of a hooligan than the GS, isn't it, without a doubt?
Yeah.
I mean, that is really a third gear, proper wheelie, clutch up, proper big wheelies on it. It is an absolute hooligan. I did take it off road a little bit. I borrowed one, and it's just a little gravel lane, and it wasn't, because they do different versions, don't they? So they do the rally for going proper off road,
right?
But I had the S, the same bike you borrowed, I think, and I took it off road, and it didn't feel quite as nice off road as the GS does.
Oh, okay.
It just didn't. On the GS, you felt really confident, really planted on it. I just felt a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it just didn't feel quite as nice as the GS off road.
Yeah.
But
I've got a vid coming.
Lovely third gear wheelies.
What was that?
It will do lovely third gear wheelies though.
I would love to be able
on
to.
On private road, of course.
Oh, obviously. I've got a bit of an off-road vid coming fairly soon from Toro.
Have you?
I went there. Really? I went there before Christmas, mid December, I think it was, and Lyndon sort of tricked me basically out onto the Husky, the Husky 350s he's got.
He's got a habit of doing that, hasn't he?
Oh, so I ended up doing a day off-roading with that, and then that was enough for me. I was like, right, I've ticked the off-road box. That's it, done.
Yeah.
It was an experience. I wouldn't have said it was for me, but it was an experience. And I said...
The thing... I'll tell you now, Bruce, off-roading, there's the fear level.
Yeah.
Okay. And until you get past being scared, you don't really enjoy it. Yeah. While you're being scared, I mean, it's not fun being scared. No one likes to be scared, do they? So until you get past the I'm scared piece, it's sort of like, so this is the enjoyment, that's the scared level. And as you get better, it goes like that sort of thing. And until you get past the being scared and enjoying it, then that's when you start to love it. Because I was the same. I was like, what is this about, this off-road? This is just balmy, you know. But I'm not. I mean, I'm rubbish. I'm not good off. I'm rubbish. But when you're less scared and that enjoyment goes up, and you get to a point where you think, actually, this is brilliant fun. This is fantastic. This is so much better than, especially if you're out with some mates and if you've got intercoms working. You're just having such a laugh. And what I like about it is in the winter, because normally in the winter, like I said, with shit weather, you go out. Who wants to go out and ride in the rain and the crap? But go out on enduros off road in the rain and the crap with your mates. It is fantastic fun. that is why I love it. In the summer I wouldn't do it so much, but for the winter when you're not riding on road, there's nothing better. So we need to get something set up for the winter.
Yeah.
And go out and maybe imagine the four of us off road, get some bikes, some couple of Huskies, got the KTM's, and all four of us go out off road, bit of green laning, and do a vlog, during the winter time. That would be a fantastic little video.
I'd be way behind.
Well, it doesn't matter, does it?
It does. I hate being behind.
Well, and it's nothing like they're going out on the green lanes in the UK isn't like going out with Lyndon in Spain. You know what I mean? They're all pretty, just a bit of mud and a bit of slippage. That's it. So that would be great. I might have to do that. That could be a good one.
Yeah, why not? Let's get it done. The world's a lobster, isn't it? Let's go for it.
Exactly.
I actually the day after I did the Huskies, I said to Lyndon, look, can I just go out on the GS? I just want to go out on the GS, just because
Yeah,
I'd never ridden the 1250 properly. I'd literally had
Of course,
half
you had the quick
hour
go, didn't you,
on
last
it.
time?
That was it.
Yeah.
On the motorway. So I said, look, any chance I could take the 1250? I'd like to do a review on a proper review on the 1250. So he said, yeah, no problem. I'll send you out with Adrian, one of the guides down there at Toro Trail. So Adrian came out with me, but I didn't know. Lyndon had said to Adrian, take him off-road. So we were doing these amazing, beautiful, twisty roads, and next thing, we just sort of turned right and went off up this fire track. I was like, oh, no, don't do this to me. But I've got to tell you, I really enjoyed the off-roading on the GS. It just felt I felt in control and stable, rather than on the Husky. Yeah. I felt like a grown man on a kid's bike that was just going to fall off the front.
They're so light, aren't they?
Yeah.
They just don't weigh. It's like riding a push bike, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
Off-road, they are so light. Yeah, my camera just bloody stopped recording then, Bruce. I've started it straight away, but do you want to just do a quick sync? Sorry, this is going to be a right pain for you to edit, mate. There we go. Right. Sorry, bloody thing.
Are you sure it's recorded, Chopsy?
It's flashing at me. It's counting up. Yeah.
Right.
Should have had a backup camera as well.
I know you end up with about 6 cameras, don't you? Yeah. Next one we have here, Stitch. If all roads lead to Rome, why do you guys somehow end up in the Pyrenees instead?
We had this one the other night, didn't we?
Spanish mountains.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah.
And it's relatively easy to get to. That's the other thing. You can jump on a ferry and you're there basically. It takes you directly there, more or less. Or you can ride, and even the ride down, if you'd have a few stops, is quite nice.
Yeah, I think it's no dramas. It's cheap.
No,
it's cheap. The weather's good. The people are really friendly. They are a total bike-friendly culture in Spain. They love bikes. Everybody loves bikes there. Even the old Bill. The old Bill don't care as long as you're out of the towns and the villages. Just save it for the roads. They're not bothered. Did I mention it was cheap? The food is just out of this world.
Yeah.
I even like the beers there, the cerveza. For me, it's just the total package for a biking trip. Love it.
And there's no one there, is there? That's the other thing. It's deserted. That's the main thing, isn't it? It's deserted. Because there's good roads in the UK. I mean, there is good roads in the UK, but they're full of cars. They're full of traffic. Yeah. That's the problem. You go to the Pyrenees, you've got fantastic roads, and not just a good stretch. You may get like, this is a great stretch of road in the UK, don't you? You've got a good couple of miles at best. But if you go there, you've got you've got hundreds of miles of fantastic roads, and just all day. It is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. I'm so hoping my trip in July is still on that.
I've got one end of May to the Picos, one end of June to the Picos, and then August Pyrenees, September, October back to the Picos. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. You just don't know at the moment, do you?
You don't know what's happening. But let's hope they are. Ones later on in the year, hopefully they should be okay.
Yep.
Let's see how it goes.
Craig Rides. 1. Has Chops considered getting help for his buy it then sell it again straight away addiction? And when are you going to take him up on his offer to take care of a couple of his bikes to free up some space in his garage?
Space is a problem. Well, that's the main reason, really. Space and obviously money and wanting a new bike. So it's like, well, something's got to give. I haven't got any more space. There's no way of getting around that. So it's a case of what would I rather have, a new bike or keep this? It's if I had the space, I'd keep them all. I think. Well, and the money. But I just love it. I just
always helps.
You just think, you think, I really want that bike. What should I do? Is that one got? I am getting known for a person who changes motorcycle, but I think it's quite good for the channel as well, isn't it? To get
absolutely.
New bikes and so it's sort of part of. That's my sort of. I guess it'd be good for that's my sort of reasoning behind it. It'll be good for the channel. It'll be good for the channel. Why not? that's what I tell the missus as well.
Nice.
It'd be good for the channel.
You are like my mate Mooley. I don't know if you've ever watched any of my vids where I'm doing all the. I very rarely do it, but if I do like an installation vid, you do really technical vids, but I very rarely do them. But when I do them, I'm crap at all that. So I have my mate Mooley come in, and he generally does all the spanner work whilst I just talk crap to the camera for a while.
Camera.
But my mate Mooley is exactly like you. He will buy a new bike probably every 8 months. Yeah, and
I'm not quite that bad.
He'll buy a bike, and then he will literally redo the bike. He'll redo the forks and suspension. He'll do everything. He'll take the thing, get it bored out. He'll remap it. He'll do all sorts to this bike
sell it
till he gets it to where he wants it to be, and then he's bored and he goes and sells it and buys another one.
I'm a little bit the same because I actually enjoy working on them almost as I enjoy riding them. So for me, having a bike, working on it in the garage, doing stuff to it is all part of the whole experience of having a bike. You know? And that's why I got the Hyper, because I knew it'd be a bit of a project. It would keep me. I'm so glad I got it now because I thought it'd be good in the winter, but it's like bloody good in the summer now. You can't go out. So, but yeah, all that working on them, doing them stuff to them, modifying them is all part of it. And that's one of the reasons why I sold the Blade, the Blade project, because I did so much to it. There was literally nothing left. I could have done, and it was like, well, it's done now. It's time to move on to a new project. So, yeah, some of it again is that that whole working on your bike, doing it up, is all part of having a bike for me.
Right.
I enjoy riding them the most, but I also enjoy working on. And this is why I need to keep a bit of room in the garage and not just fill it with bikes.
So you've got some room to
work.
Your
bike. If you've got you got some room. Yeah, absolutely. Need a lock up, don't we? Need a lock up. We spoke about this the other night. A lock up where if we're all a little bit closer, it would be fantastic to have a central lock up where we kept all our stuff, where we did videos, garage videos, review videos, and that would be amazing. But we're all sort of at different ends of the country. So
I know that's a problem, isn't it?
That I would love to have a shared lock up stroke workshop type place, not hours away, but within 20 minutes of where I live would be incredible. But then I think the reason I haven't done that is because you just worry about security, because if it's out in the country and it's you think, well, it's going to get broken into, everything's going to get nicked, there's all that. So I think if it wasn't for that, I may have hired something and done something along those lines.
Well, it's like Barron, like Chris and Al Fagan with 44 Teeth.
Yeah.
Especially what they've got going on. Well, now they've got Motoline as well, haven't they?
Absolutely.
So that's a hell of a setup. Have you ever been there? Have you ever been to their HQ?
I know exactly where it is. It's owned by Barnstormer, isn't it? It's owned by the guy who owns Barnstormer Alton. It's all part of their. I think it's all part of their estate there. They own all of that. And Chris, I think, works a lot at Barnstormer.
Yeah, he does a lot.
So he knows. I can't think of the name of the guy who runs. Well, certainly runs the Alton branch anyway. But they're very good friends. So I think he basically just hires one of their areas out the back. And I've not been there yet. I've not been there to have a look yet.
Some impressive. When you see it in the videos, it looks an impressive.
Yeah, it does.
Bit of real estate,
it does.
doesn't it?
Because I thought their old videos had like a chain, and they were like winching his up to the upstairs level and stuff like that. And
well jealous.
It does look good.
It certainly look like they're living the dream. Yeah. What we got here? Chris Charles Murphy, Chops. What extreme trip would you do given a chance? For example, like the chap going to the North Pole. Now that's Jacques Lucassen, the guy that's doing it on the R1, modified R1. What extreme trip would you do?
We had this one the other night, didn't we? And I said I wasn't really sure, didn't I? I can't even remember what I come up with in the end. So you go first, and I'll have a think. I know you've done obviously massive extreme trips, but what is left on your bucket list?
Extreme trip. I still want to do Mongolia, but I've got this thing in my head about riding to Everest Base Camp. I want to ride to Everest Base Camp from here, from the UK all the way there, and I'd like to go via like Kazakhstan, Mongolia, and then come down. But it's just the logistics of that, to do that route and come down into you've got the Chinese visas and the whole China, Nepal, Tibet, all that sort of malarkey. So I haven't looked into it, but in my head, that's my dream trip, is to ride a bike, preferably a sports bike, to Everest Base Camp.
That does sound. When you say it like that sounds amazing. I remember what I said now. I like the thought of taking something like a sports bike off-road and doing some sort of trip like that, but not on like an adventure bike, doing it on a modified sports bike. So buy a sports bike, an old bike, put on some bigger wheels on it, like sort of, really turn it into a sports bike turned into an off-roader.
Yeah.
And sort of do, as I said, There's a chap called Dale who I was speaking to, and he had a Tuono modified for off-road, and he had knobblies on it, big tyres, beefed up suspension, something like that, and take that on a trip like that Mongolia trip, and that would be amazing. Can you imagine the sound of the V4 through
across
the
those
mountains?
plains?
Wow. Yeah.
Insane.
Something like that would be incredible.
I think Genghis Khan's come back, I think, with that thing coming through the valley. Wow.
Howling through, Yeah, that would be amazing.
John Gore, Honda Goldwing or BMW K1600?
I've not ridden either. I had a very brief go on a K1600 because Womble borrowed one. He hired one to go touring on with the missus, and I had a very brief go on it. But I do quite like the look of the new Goldwings, like the stripped out Goldwings. I think they brought out end of last year. I know I never thought I think I said the other night, any bike would need to reverse. I'm not interested in, you may as well take the car. But so many people have said the Goldwings, you wouldn't, are so good. TMF, Ritchie, they both love them. Yeah. So I think I need to try one. I think the Goldwing out of the two. I think I'd go if you're going to go big massive thing. I think you may as well go with the Goldwing. I think
I've ridden the K1600 and I was gobsmacked by that thing. Was amazing, and I know it'll handle in the Spanish mountains because my mate Mickey Pierce, he took one of the trips we did, and that thing can shift. Absolutely stunning how that bike handles and the twisty stuff. But I also really want a shot at this Goldwing because TMF and Ritchie. Ritchie can chuck a bike about, and even Ritchie loved it, absolutely loved it. So
I would like to try one.
The Goldwing is on the list to do for sure.
Yeah. Same here.
What have we got here? John Boycott, for both of us, what is it about riding bikes that makes it so enjoyable?
Yeah, this is a good one, isn't it? Because I think it's different for everyone as well. Some people do it for different reasons to a degree, don't they? I think for me, it's a lot of it is the performance thing. The handling, the speed. I think that's what got me into it originally. That was the main drive for wanting to do it originally, which is great. But then it's then you got the freedom of it, that the people, that is the stuff you weren't really expecting, I guess, when you get into biking. It's, like I say, on your round the world trip, the people you say we had the same thing when we were in the Pyrenees. Other bikers sort of waving. If you stop by the side of the road, they stop and see if you're okay. Yeah. It's just, it doesn't matter what race, religion. It's just bikers are bikers, aren't they?
Absolutely.
No matter what part of the world you're at, and that is incredible.
Yeah, same for me. For me, it's the social side and the freedom, just that sense of go wherever you like, whenever. You don't need to worry about traffic. You don't need to worry about as long as it gets on the bike, as long as it fits on the bike and you can carry it, you can take whatever you like and go wherever you like. And I love that about bikes. And as you said, it opens doors for you wherever you go, because you'll always find either other bikers or bike-friendly people, and everyone loves a bike, so you've got an instant friend if you're on a bike. So that's it. It's
I didn't have bikes for about 10 years. I was without a bike. And I really missed it. That's when the kids were born. I ended up, because I thought, obviously they're dangerous. So I thought, the missus was like, oh, you can't go. So I agreed, and I didn't have a bike for a while. And it was only because my brother-in-law has always had bikes, and he kept saying, "You got to get another bike, John. You got to get another bike." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I would like another bike." And the missus was like, "You're not having a bike." I was like, "Oh," and that went on for a couple of years because I ended up commuting up to Slough every day, and I said, "Oh, a bike would be handy for the commute."
Yeah,
you're not having a bike.
I'd be home sooner.
Anyway, I put my foot in and I said, "Yeah, I'll be home to better see you more." You're not having a bike, so I really missed it, and. In the end, I just said, I'm going to get a bike, and I put my foot down per se, and I'm so glad I did. Like, what would I have been doing now if I hadn't have bought the bike?
I know.
It's all of not only loving biking, but then we've got all this sort of vlogging and all this community type. It's just incredible, isn't it?
You might have had like a beauty or a makeup channel on the go, John.
Yeah. Gaming channel.
Yeah, you were a gamer, weren't you? That's right. In
Yeah,
fact, that's,
well, yeah.
that was a question. I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
That was a question later on. There is a question. We'll save that because there is a question about it, isn't there?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Jeffrey Milne, for both of us, what was the defining moment in both our lives that made us want to become vloggers and share our lives with the world?
Yes, it's for me. I didn't really start the channel to do that. I started it as the Blade project because I used to go on a lot of forums and I did, took photos and I've done this to the bike today, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I did it really, and I thought, well, I could actually record it on a camera and do that. When I did the Blade up and swap the engine, I thought I could do a little series on YouTube about doing that.
Yeah.
And that's where it started off. And there's about 28 episodes of me doing the Blade in the garage. And then I thought, well, oh god, I was really, it's the feedback, it's the interaction with people, isn't it? That is
Absolutely.
why I do this, and I really love that. And when it comes to the end of the project, I was like, well, I'm done now, but I don't want to lose that. So I thought, I can't. People like Baron, those sort of guys started doing the vlogging because this was probably 5-6 years ago now, I guess. So I thought, well, let's do the first test ride. I put a mic in the helmet. Let's go around the block, and we do a little bit of talking about the bike as I'm riding it. And it sort of evolved from there, really. And then I really enjoyed that. Had some good feedback from doing that. So when I went to another ride, it turned out that year was like, I'm going to this meet today, and it was like me riding to the meet, bit at the meet, then coming home, and it just went from there.
Yeah.
It just went from there. What about yourself?
Well, I started the vids for the round the world trip, and it was literally just to document it for my son mainly. Initially, I wanted my boy to have some sort of record of what his old boy had done, and because
nice.
Morbidly, I didn't know if I'd come back from that trip. I had no idea what would happen for the next year and a half, 2 years, and I wanted some record for my boy to see, what was it his dad was doing for that year and a half, 2 years, where he wasn't, I wasn't part of my boy's life. I was away, so I wanted that, and a record for my family and my friends and all that sort of stuff. But as you said, as things wore on, I really got into the integration, the social interaction that you get with it, and people getting in touch through the comments and through Facebook and everything like that. So when I came back from the round the world trip, and I stopped all the vids because I thought, well, I've finished the trip, so it's done now. So I stopped it all, and I really missed that. I really missed the interaction with people. So it got to like end of 2016. And I had loads of people messaging me saying, "What are you doing next? What's going on? What's happened to the bike?" And so I just did I think I called it After the Dream or something. I just did a vid to sort of let people know what had been going on, and it went from there. Really, I just ended up doing weekly vids again, and the rest is history. Just gone from there.
It's that interaction, isn't it? That is why I do it. At the end of the day, that is. It's almost like a bit of a drug, isn't it? You get sort of addicted to it. When you first started out and you've got a small channel, you put a video up and you may get a couple of hundred people watch it, and that's it really. You may get 3 comments on that video, but it'll be like, you put a video up and I'll do a video and I'll be like, oh, I can't wait to publish this now. I think, well, I ought to wait, and I think, I can't wait, I'll just publish it, 11 o'clock at night or whatever, terrible time to publish your videos, let's just publish it, I can't wait, Refresh, no one's commented yet, refresh, there's a comment, answer it straight away. But that, it's that feedback, it's fantastic, and I do love that.
Yeah, I love it. And then you get to the other end of the extreme now, and I mean, we've both got fairly reasonable numbers, but they're not massive by YouTube standards, by any shape or form.
Tiny.
But they're okay, I'm 30 odd thousand, you got 50 odd thousand. That's a lot of people, isn't it, that are out there in your community. So now you post a video and it's like that. You start getting comments and you're like, oh my god, people are actually there watching this.
There's so many comments. You struggle to. I always read all of the comments. I read all of them, but you can't reply to all of them. What I try and do is a new video goes up, I'll reply to everyone on that new video. But then, of course, you're getting comments on old videos all the time as well. So it's not just the new videos you're answering comments. You've got all of your back catalogue. People are still watching and commenting on. So,
you have to keep going.
You could literally spend, I think, 2 hours a day
Easy.
just answering comments.
Easy.
2 hours of your every day
Yeah.
just answering comments. That is how many there is. And I try and respond to, if people ask you a question, then I'll answer the question.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. But sometimes people it's a comment, it's just a statement. There's no just to click the like button.
Yeah.
But so if they ask the question, where did you buy that, or then I always try and answer it.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Because I do love that interaction. But it gets to a point where it's just crazy the amount of, and that's just on YouTube. Then you've got your Facebook, then you've got your Instagram, and it's you can literally just get lost in it, can't you? Yeah. But that is great. I do love that.
Yeah, I use the YouTube Studio app on the phone, so I think that limits the amount of comments. When you click the top little, up in the top right,
really?
It's got a little circle thing.
Yeah.
You can tap that.
Yeah.
That'll only give you the top sort of 30, 40, 50 comments, something like that. So
really, I thought it showed them all.
Yeah, if you want to go any further back than that, you have to go to the specific comment part in the sub menu.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So what I tend to do now is I hit that top right thing, and I will just go through that top whatever comments it is that I can see, and I'll do my best to reply to all of them every, I would like to say every day, but it's not. It's every few hours you go through and have a little look, don't you? But you're right. You end up. That takes up a huge chunk of your day. Massive chunk.
Does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I used to get a notification, because you can have a notification used to ping when you got a comment. Oh, I got a comment.
Yeah.
Oh, what was it? But you just have to turn that off now, because it's just pinging all day, isn't it?
Mr. Popular.
Ooh, look at me.
What have we got here? Nick Turnbull, Chops, I assume you didn't get the Super Duke 3 on test, but did you manage to get the WP suspension set up in the bag, or did that also fall foul of the C word?
Yeah, no, it all fell foul. And that was all meant to happen when I went and took the bike back, because I had quite a good little video lined up. They were going to settle the suspension up on the KTM, which is at the back there somewhere. When the first service when it went back to KTM, they were going to do the suspension, get it all resprung, set it all up for my weight. I'd see if they could get any springs heavy enough. And I even had a little interview lined up with like the head of WP. But yeah, it all got cancelled. They all said no, we're not. It's all on hold. We're shutting. There's not going to be anyone here. So no, unfortunately not. Actually, I would have had the Super Duke would have been going back on Tuesday. I would have had it for 2 weeks. It would have gone back Tuesday.
Oh mate.
So,
but it'll happen again, though, won't it? You'll just be able to reschedule.
It'll definitely happen again. So it's not lost forever. But one of those things.
ATCJ5, Bruce. If you were to go around the world again, would you? And what would you do different? Would you go solo or with another biker? And would I take Helga, the GS? I used to say no, I wouldn't go again, because at the time I used to think, I've done the trip, I've done it. It's like your
ticked off the list.
Your dream thing, isn't it? And I thought, well, I've done that now. Boom, that's it. But I've got to admit, I do have a bit of a yearning to travel again, and this isn't helping, being confined. Although this isn't too much different to normal life for me anyway now. I'd literally spend my life in the office editing. But I do have a yearning to finish what I didn't do on the round the world trip. So I want to finish Africa
rather than do it all again.
Yeah. I want to do Africa. I want to do India. I want to do Kazakhstan, Mongolia, parts of China, New Zealand. I'd love to do. The very bottom of Ushuaia of South America. I'd like to do that all the way to Dead Horse at the very top of America, because I had to miss the two extremes out on my trip, didn't have the time or money. So I would love to go back and do all those bits. And places like, I'd love to ride in Greenland, because there's hardly any roads there, and it's somewhere where people don't go. So I would love to go there. Iceland, I've been to Iceland, but not on a bike, and the Faroe Islands, all these little places. I'd just love to go back and tick to say, yeah, I've done that now. How are you doing for time for your battery? Are you okay?
I've showing like quarter left.
Right,
showing quarter left, so it's probably all right. It's probably all right for
Lovely
a while.
job.
I'm keeping my eye on it. Don't worry, I'm keeping my eye on it.
What about you, Chops? Where would you like travel to?
Anywhere where there's decent roads, really. It's all about the roads for me.
Yeah.
I would struggle. The missus hates me going away, so I always
right, I thought
struggle when it's.
Your missus hates you.
Well, that probably as well. I struggle. I struggle to get away because she doesn't like me going away. So it's always a bit of a. Whenever I got to go on a trip, it's always a bit of a compromise as to how long I can go for.
Yeah.
For me to do any sort of massive trip like that would be out of the question.
Yeah.
It would be out of the question. But I'd love to do something. I mean, when I hear you talking about it, it's not something which is high up on my list, but when I hear you talking about it and the passion behind it, you think, oh, that does actually sound fantastic, you know. So I would love to do something in the States. Yeah. I know it's low risk. It's nothing like going out Kazakhstan or whatever. But I'd love to do Route 66, something like that.
Yeah,
on a couple of Harleys. And I don't think I'd like to do it on my own. I think I'd have to do it with a couple of mates.
Yeah.
I think, and I think I'd go a bit crazy just doing it on my own. So I'd like to do a couple of some Harleys, Route 66. That would be amazing. I think that would be if I had to choose one destination, one trip. I think that would be it. I think that'd be top of my list.
What, Harley Route 66?
Even though I say the roads and it's just straight roads, but
it's like a lot of freeway now. Route 66.
Yeah. Just through the Grand Canyon and stuff. You know, the Grand Canyon. I'd love to see I've never
the
been.
Grand
I'd
Canyon.
love to see the Grand Canyon.
The Grand Canyon is probably one of the standout experiences from my round the world trip, which I totally took for granted beforehand. Like the Grand Canyon, whatever. I've seen the pictures, looks amazing. Yeah. It's one of the few places, Norway probably being another one, where it's actually even more impressive in real life. Really? You know, you get to some places and you look at them and you think, oh, it doesn't look as good in real life as it does in the picture. The Grand Canyon was a total flip way around. It looks amazing in a picture, but when you see it in real life, it blew my mind. I was just like, this is otherworldly. It's amazing. Yeah,
I'd love to maybe do a bit of off road, sort of go maybe off road a little bit. You know, out that sort of that would be for me.
People do, don't they? I think people take the trails and ride bikes all the way down through the valley and stuff.
Yeah. Could you imagine doing that? That would be incredible, wouldn't it? Yeah. I would love to do that. Yeah, I think that would be top of my list for a trip.
Make it so. Make it happen.
Yeah, could happen. It could happen.
You could take Mrs. Chops.
Who knows?
You could fly in. You could fly into Chicago.
That's the only way I'd be able to pull it off. I think she'd have to come with me. That's the only way I could get away with that.
Fly into Chicago, have a few days in Chicago, and then either she flies to LA or wherever the end is. It's LA, San Fran, wherever it is. She flies there or comes with you on a bike, and then you just get on a bike and do the Route 66.
That could do it. That could be the way to work it actually. I'll think about that.
Formulate a plan, make it happen.
Yeah, formulate a plan with that one. I agree. Yeah, okay.
For me, would I go solo or go with another biker? Well, I like my own space, but I really like to meet people and as I said when we chatted on Friday, there were a lot of times on my world trip where I remember thinking, such and such would love, Nikki, my wife, she would love seeing this, or my mates, Ross, Woody, all them, they would love this bit, and it's it's like you see some things that you just think someone else should be here to experience that, and I at the time, and I probably still do, I lacked the photography skills, like the Milky Way. I saw the Milky Way in the Atacama Desert at night, sleeping in the desert. It's stunning, blew my mind, just amazing. But I don't have the technical skills to be able to capture that either in photograph or on video. I just didn't.
Yeah.
So all that is just in my head. I've got no record of it, and it would be great to have other people there to experience it. Yeah. But I think
I can get why you'd want to do it on your own, but I also see doing it with someone. I think I'd go for the with someone. Only thing with someone, you got to I like to get ready quickly and go on and off and out quite early. If you're with someone, then they're like, oh come on, get ready. It's a little bit of frustration there, but I think having someone with you would outweigh the frustrations of not.
Yeah, I think it makes certain things. Filming would be easier with two people for sure.
Absolutely.
Security, when you stop in a town or something.
Yeah.
You've got someone to stay with the bikes. Although it was never an issue for me anyway. But it is peace of mind having somebody there next to the bikes, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think maybe next time, next trip would be good to go with someone or a group of people. That would be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
TMS talking about doing India, isn't he? He's saying we should go and do India. I'm well up for that.
Was he drunk at the time though?
Yeah, he was. We'd had a lot of booze.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Right, Steve Meeson, to both of us, if you could only have one bike to last 5 years, what would you have?
That's a tough one. It would either be the Supermoto, something like the Hyper or the 690, or it would be the Super Duke GT.
Yeah,
is the other one, because I think that bike.
It's KTM. It wouldn't last 5 years.
Yeah.
That's me done with KTM now.
It's such a hooligan, and it is just like a big supermoto. The Super Duke is like a big supermoto, but that's just the big supermoto, but with a bit more practicality, where you can put panniers on the back, and you've got a little screen, not a massive screen, but a little screen. So I think it would probably be the GT.
Right.
I think it would probably be the GT, yeah.
Cool. I'll just be boring here, and you know what I'm going to say. GS.
Don't even say it, Bruce. We know what it is.
It would be the GS. It just does everything. So, yeah, sorry.
Oh,
God, I'm boring. Where are we there? Steve Mason. Here we go. Frederick Smamu. He asked about got any tips for a quiet, comfortable, safe and not too expensive flip-up helmet for a female head?
Yeah, I've never used flip-up helmets. I've never had one. Sort of back in when I sort of started, the flip-ups weren't particularly safe. They were like a second choice. But I don't think that's the case nowadays. I think they're as safe as a full-face helmet. But I've never tried one, so I can't give any. I would say stick with the leading brands with the flip up. Well, I don't think you can go cheap with a flip up. I think you're probably best off spending a bit more money.
Yeah, I reckon
getting
you're
a decent brand. That would be my recommendation. But I can't recommend any because I've not tried any.
Yeah, the only flip ups I've ever used are the ones that we use in the police. So I've had the BMW flip up one, and I've had the Shoei. And I've got to say, between the two, the Shoei was the better one. I think it's called the Neotech, the Shoei Neotech. It's not budget. It's fairly expensive. I think you're looking the $350 to $450 mark, maybe a bit more. I'm not sure, but as Chop said, you're definitely worth. With a helmet, I would never go cheap with a helmet. If I would always buy the best I could get myself personally for a helmet, because I've had one or two offs, and the helmet will save your life. Absolutely.
Yeah, and all helmets aren't the same, are they? They
no,
really aren't.
No,
I think you do get what you pay for.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Jason Robbins, this was a good one. What bike stunt would you each want to learn? Wheelie.
Oh, we had this on the other night, didn't we? Yeah. For me, it's not really a stunt, but I'd love to be able to do backing in. Yeah. So especially on the supermotos, just bringing the back out and going into a corner, sliding it into a corner. I think that would be top of my list.
It's effortlessly cool, that, isn't it?
Yeah. That way of riding, that style of just being loose and everything sliding around, it'd be incredible. Yeah, that would be mine.
You would just get that couple of seconds of footage that you could slow right down slow mo. That would look epic. Yeah. And then you would just have to cut the bit where it grips and flips you high side. That.
And you need a tyre sponsor as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. We were saying my mate Bob Collins. He owns FWR Tyres, the tyre place, South London. Right, Little plug for you there, Bob. He's known as Jigsaw Bob, and that's his sort of trademark, is sliding bikes. Yeah. Honestly, what he does on Jigsaws is just phenomenal. He used to race the R6 Cups with Tommy Hill and people like that. So he's got a hell of a pedigree. He's a good rider. But he can he can be riding a bike and then jump through the bars. So he's sat on the tank, wheelie it whilst he's sat on the tank, and drift the back out as well. He's nuts, crazy.
When you see people who've got that level of control, on a bike. It just blows your mind, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'd love to be that athletic for a start, and then but just be able to control, and just have that level of feel, and it'd be amazing.
It's phenomenal, isn't it? You all right for batteries? Because we are 54 minutes in.
Yeah, I've got one blob. Should we do a swap now? Or in between
let's
questions? I'll do a quick battery swap.
Let's swap over the batteries.
Okay.
2 ticks, folks. Beautiful.
Right, ready for us?
I'm back
I'll
in.
let you do your...
Right, I'll do a quick sound check. And then you.
Ready? Hopefully that'll do it, mate.
And we are back in the room.
We're back in the room.
Feels weird not doing this with beer. I need beer.
Oh, it does. It is a bit weird, isn't it? It does. I've still got some of the cans. Actually, I may have a beer left here, but I think 10:30 on a Sunday morning.
Go for it.
Probably a bit too early, isn't it?
I've even run out of coffee. I've got no coffee left.
I have as well. I should have taken an opportunity to.
I know. I did think about it, but I had a coffee and half an Easter egg this morning, and
did you?
Yeah, nature worked its magic.
Coffee and chocolate, yeah.
I'll leave you with that image. Right, where were we?
You've got a bit of Easter egg in your beard, Bruce, by the look of it.
What's that?
You've got a bit of Easter egg in your beard, I think, by the look of it. No, I'm
joking. It keeps getting caught in this. It gets caught in the microphone.
Does it?
Yeah, it does, yeah. I snag it.
Do you even use a dead cat in your helmet, do you? You don't need to, do you?
I do, actually. I do use one. Yeah, but I think the beard does help. I honestly think the beard helps.
I think, yeah. It probably does. It probably does.
Right, well, Martin Atkinson. If your best mate has just got into biking and they've passed their test and are wanting to hit the road, they want to tour a little in Europe and do Sunday blasts, what do you tell them to buy and why?
Yeah, now this
I remember
is,
this one.
Yeah, I remember this one. This is a good one, and I think I said an SV650.
Yeah, you did.
Time.
Yeah,
because it's a cheap bike. I mean, it's under. I think they're just under $5,000 or just over $5,000, around the $5,000 mark, brand new. When I borrowed one, it's one of those few bikes you borrow that you think. You almost think, well, I don't know, I really want to borrow this. This is going to be a little bit boring.
Yeah,
but we'll give it a go. But it's one of those few bikes you ride and you're like, wow, this is way better than I thought it was going. It's not a light bike. It's over 200 kilos. It's not got a massive amounts of power, but just the feel and the ride of it, it's just a fantastic bike.
Yeah.
So, and it's also A2 compliant as well, so that you can A2 them easily. So I think that's the perfect bike for learning the craft on, because it's stable in the corners, it handles well. You can also mod them, you can do anything to them. There's people who do go race them,
That's right.
But
the
the SD650, I think, is a fantastic bike to get started with.
Yeah,
I think you can really learn your craft on something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say something like
that would be mine.
Something like the Bandit 600 Bandit, or the the Hornet, something like that. But yeah, SV, because it's got that SV engine's lovely.
Exactly. Yes, it's a V-twin. It's a V-twin. Sounds. You can put a pipe on it. It sounds lovely, and that you can get something new. I think if you're into biking, depending how mechanically inept you are, if you're getting something old like a Bandit, you could end up spending more time working on it than actually riding the bloody thing.
Right.
But at least with the SV, it's a new bike for around $5,000. I mean, PCP on one of those must be pittance.
Must be like 40, 50 quid a month, if that.
Exactly, and Suzuki are always doing interest-free stuff as well, aren't they, on their bikes? So
especially now.
I would. Yeah, God, I bet you can get some hell of a deals at the moment.
When this all breaks, I reckon bike sales. There's going to be some amazing deals out there. Go on.
Yeah, I think so. There's going to be a lot of stock.
So we need to do our bit for the biking community, for the biking industry.
We do
bikes.
indeed, yeah. Yeah, I'm doing my best. I've brought a load of bikes.
You are. You're doing everyone's thing.
Yeah.
Right, nice. Martin Atkinson, Drift, GoPro, Sony, or DJI?
Oh, okay.
For recording rides.
Yeah, well, it's for me, nothing beats the GoPro if you need to record audio while you're riding. Even the GoPro isn't. It's not infallible, as we both know, we've all had issues.
Yeah.
But for me, I think the most reliable of the GoPros is the Hero 4. And mine's been 100% reliable, apart from Friday night, when it didn't work. But yeah, for me, the Hero 4, it's got no stabilisation. But I quite like that more natural feel. It looks more like you're riding the bike because it does move around a bit more where you're looking.
Yeah.
So I actually quite like the 4. But for me, I think, there's not many action cameras you could even connect an external mic to, isn't it? And that is part of the issue. I don't know if you can with the DJI or not. The drift you can, of course. The drift is great, but the battery life's brilliant on the drift, isn't it? You got like 5 hours of battery. Going to GoPro, you got an hour maximum. So the drift. It's a shame those new drifts they brought out. They could have absolutely nailed it with those.
I said that to them.
And it's such a wasted opportunity, isn't it? It's such a wasted opportunity there because they're just not reliable. And the most important thing about an action camera for vlogging is reliability, isn't it?
And they don't seem to be addressing it.
Especially going on these tours and stuff.
They don't seem to have any interest in addressing it. I was a drift ambassador.
It's such a shame.
I was a flagship drift user with the Ghost S. They brought out that 4K, gave me the 4K, and I had loads of issues. And every time I mentioned an issue, all they said was, and they sent me another one. So I ended up with like 3 Ghost 4Ks, and they were all shit.
It's like,
none of them worked. And they just never seemed to address the issues that were in there. They just tried to replace it with another camera, and then another camera, and then another camera. And you're like, just sort out the firmware.
Because I think the early ones were brilliant. But then, of course, people, they're only 1080p. People expect more these days. So it's a shame. But I think the GoPro is the only option at the moment still. If to connect, you can have other like the 360 cameras are great. The Insta 360s. There's the new Insta R, which is you can actually plug a microphone in. I've not tested it yet. I've got one here, and I've not tested it yet as a vlogging setup. But some of the video I've seen of other people using it, the audio's not great. So I don't think that's going to be a viable option as a helmet cam.
Well, even with an external mic, the audio's not good.
Yeah, it's not. It sounds a bit. It's just not got that depth of tone. It sounds really sort of mono-y. I don't know. I haven't tried it myself yet, so I need to. That would have been done by now. I suppose I could walk around the house and do some audio test with the helmet on. But
cut the grass.
But I think at the moment, that'd be a good one. But the engine with
I've just given you the idea because that's exactly what I was going. I've got a new helmet to review, and I thought, I'll just go out and cut the grass wearing it all mic'd up.
Another one? Was this not the Ruroc?
Well, I've been given. I got given the new LS2, the Pioneer Evo. The adventure style one, the Peak. I got given that literally about a week before this all happened, so I've just not been able. I've not been able to get out and try it.
You're going to be out mowing along with the crash helmet on.
Well, I've cut the grass now, but never mind.
Marjorie, he's absolutely lost it now. He's outside mowing the lawn with his crash helmet on, talking to himself.
With the drone following me.
With the drone tracking him.
I'm giving you all my ideas here. If you see Lab Chops doing a video, it's from me, right? It's from me. I had all this planned in my head, and I just didn't do it. What an idiot. Anyway. For me, I'm the same as you. GoPro. There's so many accessories available for it. I think the video quality just stock without doing any color grading.
You don't have to touch it.
Correction, anything at all. Just straight off the SD card. The coloring's amazing. The picture quality is fantastic. The drift just hasn't got the same vivid range of colors. I think at all. I've had a look at I've got the DJI Osmo here.
Have you?
Yeah, one of the lads that came away to the Picos with me last year, Greg Kingston. He's Alpine Larfs. I used some of his footage in my videos.
I've seen you mention. Yeah, I've seen you doing that. Yeah.
He gave me his Osmo to use over the winter because he said he wouldn't be riding. Someone just beeped me. It's you. Oh no, it's me. Oh, hang on.
It's you this time.
Whoa, why is that? Hang on. Let me have a little look and see what's going on here. Stand by. I've got that plugged in as an external source as well.
It's us. It happened. Just had to go while we were talking about GoPros and which are the best cameras.
That's interesting. Do you know what's happened? It's overheated.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's overheated. I've never had that before. Right, hang on, mate. Let me. I've got another GoPro here.
No, do your stuff, mate. Do your stuff. Is that your 7 you're using? Is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's scorching hot.
Try it on just a battery for a sec, because we both got to swap them anyway. Both just had them in, haven't we?
Yeah. Wow. That is like really hot. Wow. Why is that? I've got it next to the light. I've got it right next to the external light, and maybe because it's. Whew, that's like really hot to touch.
Too hot to touch.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like a baked potato.
Right. I'm gonna have to change all the format, all those settings as well. Give me 2 ticks. Sorry about this, John.
Do it. Yeah, no, do it. That's fine, mate.
Right.
Ready?
Audio's
Do
back
my
on.
side. Do you want me to do my side as well? My side as well.
Go on then.
There we go. Just in case.
Sorry about that, folks. Just us talking about GoPros there and how great they are.
Read a little test card come up.
And my
Technical difficulties.
GoPro overheated. I think because I'm doing it, in the middle of the day now, and I've got it right next to my light source. It was, this thing is literally hot to touch, boiling hot. Never had that before. Interesting. Anyway, GoPros normally straight
Normally,
out.
they're great.
And the other issue that I've had was I had quite a lot of times where I was on the bike and I'd go back and look at the footage off the GoPro and the picture would freeze, but the audio would carry on. So I'd end up with a still, and you're like, oh no. And I
have had that on my 7 before.
Yeah,
it has done that before.
And I was having problems.
Done that today.
You and I went out and did that bike versus planes thing, and we both had the Insta 360s on. Well, your Insta 360 would last almost an hour, and mine would do maybe. Sometimes I would get 5 minutes, sometimes I would get 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Could never figure it out.
Yeah.
And then I had a little look on the forums, and everyone kept saying about SD cards. So I had a look at my SD cards, and they were all as fast as you could get, and top spec ones. But I'd always bought them off Amazon, and I'd always gone for the cheapest price you could get for that SD card.
Yeah.
But I'd heard there were so many fraudulent ones out there, fake ones. So I just went on the SanDisk website, and I bought SD card straight from them, top spec one, straight from SanDisk themselves. Touch wood, not had a single issue since then. On Insta 360 or on the GoPros. So, definitely invest in your SD cards.
Yeah, there's definitely something with the SD cards, isn't there? You have to spend out, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than getting back from like a ride or doing a review, or like with us, you get invited places to go and do these rides. You get back and your footage is crap. You can't use it.
It is a nightmare. Well, I went to Portugal for the launch of the 690 actually, and the Enduro R. Right, the first thing in the morning, they wanted to do a big thing. We ride through a river. It's like the first sort of shoot of the morning at like 9:30. So we ride about 5 miles to this river, go through it. We take photos as you go. I hit it really hard, and the water literally drowned the camera. And for the rest of it was a write-off. There's no audio for the whole rest of the trip.
Oh,
it got into the camera, and just the audio was dead. So it's like I got back, and you got back, and you go to look back, and you're like, oh my god, that's it, know. So I had to do what I could, just with sort of music, and so it was a nightmare. That's something like that, where if you lose the footage, it's disastrous, Yeah.
Well, that last trip to Toro that we did, unfortunately you couldn't make that one, but Richie and I were mic'd up with the Cardos, and the idea was that we were going to have a good old chat about a few things and do a nice little joint vlog, and my audio packed in halfway through.
Never goes to plan.
Yeah,
I can't believe we managed to do it with 4 of us last time, and everyone's camera worked, and we came out with something.
I know.
That alone is an achievement, isn't it?
I don't understand why my audio started. It's basically since I moved from my old Shoei lid up there, and I moved to the new Ruroc one. There's something about the positioning of the new, how I've got the adapter, its location on the helmet. For some reason, where it is now, it's only a slight difference in angle. But that slight difference in angle seems to put more wind resistance against the 3.5mm jack that goes into the adapter. So that only needs to come out, not even a millimetre, like half a mil movement, and you start losing connection. So you don't get. It only needs to come out a little bit, and then you lose the mic inside the helmet, but you also lose the mic on the camera itself. So you've got no audio.
Use both.
Yeah,
I think once it's interrupted. it doesn't come back again, does it?
No.
Once it's lost that for
Yeah.
I think the camera's like, that's it, it's gone. It won't, even if
Yeah.
it pushes back in again, it won't come back. Yeah.
So you either end up with
it's-
nothing, or you just get this
it's a pain.
crackling and
Yeah.
cackling noise. So
Yeah.
what I've done now is I've just sugrued it in. I've permanently sugrued
Have
it
you?
in now. Yeah. So that's just the way it is now.
Yeah.
But touch wood, I've not had any issues since then. Right, so that was a very long-winded answer. It took about 20
It
minutes.
was a bit of a
James Donahue. Chopsy. This is just to you, by the way. Chopsy. If you had to sleep with one of your opponents from the Fly Ride video, who would you choose and why?
Well, I would have said Richie if I hadn't have seen TMF's picture on Instagram yesterday.
TMF in Lycra. Wow.
He's got quite
ass.
a nice bottom.
The man's got a
He's
nice
got
ass.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So, yeah, I think probably Richie, but I don't know. TMF's got quite a nice bum. As long as he brings those leather pants.
Oh, I think that's the teaser for this one, isn't it? Probably Richie.
Go on, what about
but
you?
TMF's
You
got a
can't
nice
get away
bum.
with that. What about you? What about you? You got to answer this one as
Didn't
well.
ask me. Didn't ask me.
Oh, here we go.
It's got to be Rich, isn't it? Because Rich can serenade you.
He could. Yeah, he's an incredible talent.
Rich would be way more sensitive. Mark Kennedy. Talking of which, Mark Kennedy asked Chops if he sorted out his arse.
It's still not right after that Spain trip. It's still. I think we spent this the other night, didn't we?
Yeah.
On Friday.
We spent
When
a
I got
long time
back-
talking about your arse.
We did talk about my ass, yeah, but briefly. It's not been the same since. And when I got back from that trip, I had corns on my ass. Literally had corns on my ass. It took a week for my ass to recover. And I couldn't, if that had been a round the world trip, and I had to carry on,
Yeah.
I was finished. I couldn't have done another day in the saddle after that trip. That was me done. And if I'm riding a bike now, it doesn't take long for my ass to start to hurt. So I really can feel it now, much more than I used to. So I must have a bony bum or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do struggle with a sore bum.
You need to. Oh man, the teaser for this is going to be awesome. Really, is going to be awesome. Yeah,
You could piece this together in such a way that
I
it
will.
makes
Don't worry.
sense.
I will. You're going to have to toughen up your Aris. Oh yeah, this was connected. This was from Mark Kennedy. What's the most amount of miles you've done in one day?
I think about 550-ish, which was again on that Pyrenees trip on the Super Duke,
Yeah.
and that was 550 of
Mountain
Pyrenees
twisties.
twisties, average speed of 35-40 mile an hour.
That's good going on that.
And that, well, I think that mileage took us around 14 hours of riding, something like that, 14, 15 hours in the saddle.
Yeah.
And then the next day I think we arrived at the hotel at like 1 in the morning. Then we were up again at 7 in the morning to do the same sort of mileages again. And that's why my ass was in tatters, basically.
Punishing that though, isn't it?
Punishing, yeah, it was.
Yeah, mine's a bit more, but mine was in Russia, and it's a lot of really straight roads with nothing on it.
Yeah.
I did about 1,400 miles in a day, but that was 23 and a bit hours of riding, and I was literally crippled by the end of it. I couldn't get off the bike at the end of that. I was just like, I had to fall off the bike onto my back, and I was just like a little fat turtle wobbling about on my back, waiting for everything to loosen off. I wouldn't recommend it.
Jesus.
But then
that sounds horrific.
I did do Scotland in a day on that round the UK in 5 days trip. That was hard.
That's an achievement.
That was like
I would like to
600-700
do a
miles.
Land's End to John O'Groats type
yeah.
challenge at some point. That's got to happen, hasn't it? But yeah, that is just horrific. That being that. Oh, I couldn't even imagine what that's like. And you want to do it again? That sort of punishment? Oh,
Gotcha.
yeah.
You should do. Most years I'll do the RBLR 1000 Royal British Legion. Riders
I
Badge.
don't think I could do that now because of my bum though.
'Cause
I
your
think after I'll be an hour in and I'll be like, oh, my arse is hurting now.
Goldwing.
That'll be it.
Get the Goldwing.
Yeah, on the Goldwing, baby. Yeah, the Goldwing.
do
Someone
it
kept saying you want to get a sheepskin. You want to get a sheepskin cover on the seat,
some
and
people
that's
do
going to
that.
make quite a bit of difference. Yeah.
Or just
Bit of sheepskin on there.
just eat lots of chocolate and fatten out your ass a bit. It
Just
works for
man
me.
up.
No
Just
problem at
man
all.
up, yeah.
I haven't got any issues with my bum.
I must have a bony arse, I think. Bony arse and a fat belly.
What have we got here? Fresh water. So I've invested in the right equipment and I've set up my helmet correctly. I then discover I'm rubbish at talking to myself when on the bike. Can you and Chopsy share some tips on how to improve? Did the verbal diarrhea come naturally, or has it been something you've worked on over time?
Yeah, we spoke about this again, this question, didn't we?
Yeah.
I sometimes have to work at it a little bit. The thing I find hard is if you've got a bike to do a review on, you've got to do a review on it, and that's why someone's given you a bike.
Yeah.
And say the weather's been shit and you've got one shot to sort of do the video. And I think that sometimes you've got to be in the right mood to want to do it and go out and talk bollocks and do it. And if that's the time when you don't really want to do it, but you've got to do it because it's the only opportunity, it's sometimes I find it a bit hard then because you're sort of almost having to sort of force it a little bit.
Yeah, be a bit wooden, can't you?
And, yeah, a little bit wooden. So normally it's fine. I do, I'm not like TMF. He can go out, press record, talk for an hour, stop his camera at the end of it, and that's his video. Just cut a few little bits. Well, that's his video, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
it works.
I tend to have to. It does. It absolutely works, and he can just do that and just talk. But I do find it a little bit harder than that. And I do what I want to say, and then I might have a little break and then think, and then do you know what I mean? And just piece it together. But it doesn't come naturally to everyone, I don't think, and it's something you do have to work on. And I've sort of got better at it over time.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised if you can't just expect that, can you? Just to go out and put the camera on and think, what am I going to say?
Yeah, I think if you watch any sort of vloggers or moto vloggers, you watch anyone on YouTube who's at a certain level now, if you go back to their early stuff, it'll be totally different. Totally different. And everyone's generally quite wooden to begin with, aren't they?
Yes.
Something that was said to me by I used to follow a chap, Graham, who went off travelling around South America on a bike before I did my world trip. His channel was called Brain Rotting. I'm sure it must still be on YouTube, but if you get a chance, check it out. Brain Rotting.
Yeah.
Still to this day, some of the best video I've seen. It's awesome. But he came across really naturally on camera, and luckily enough, he lived in Bromley, which was where I lived before I went away, and we arranged to meet up and go and have a beer. I had loads of questions to ask him about travelling. So one of the things he said to me was, you will never come across on camera as energetic or enthusiastic as you think you are. So he says, always hamp it up, because he said you'll think that you're being really positive and let's have it on camera, and then you watch it on camera and you're like that. Yeah, this is really good. I'm having a great time and it's awesome. And he's true. That is true. When you are genuinely really enjoying yourself and having a whale of a time, which we do all the time when we're like doing our joint things away and stuff, that comes across. Oh, sorry, excuse me 2 seconds. Hello, Mrs. Smart. Thank you very much. Oh no, is he? Thank you very much for that. Mrs. Teapot's just brought me some blackcurrant juice, but apparently Sterling Moss has passed away.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
Oh bloody hell!
Condolences to Mr. Moss's family and friends. Sorry to hear
absolutely.
that. Here's to you, Sterling.
Absolute legend. Yeah. Absolute legend.
Yeah. So going back to that, try and be. It's a difficult one because you can't ham it, can you? You can't ham it up.
No, because then you're not being
across.
yourself, are you? You're putting something on as such.
But you sort of. What's the best way of saying it? I don't think I'm ever being fake on camera, but his advice stayed in my head that you have to. What's the word? You've got to be as positive as you possibly can be if you want to be positive about something. But conversely, some of the best bits of footage is when you are really down. Like when you're travelling on a trip, when you're really not enjoying it. That's what people want to see.
that's what stuck with me, and I think that's something you said on some point. I can't remember when you said it, but when things are really bad, that's when you need to press record and put the camera in your face. You don't want to, but that's what makes the best entertainment as such. And I remember you saying that, and that sort of stuck with me a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I'm doing the bike, or when you're trying to do one of the garage videos, you don't. It's a lot of effort to start recording it and setting the camera up. You just want to get on with it, and so you're like, oh, I need to make myself do it. But if something's going badly, you forget to record it because you're like, I just got to do this now. It's just all gone to shit.
You don't want to look an idiot either.
I'm guilty of that.
That's what people want to see.
And then I know exactly, and that is what people want to see. So you have to really make yourself. You want to record when it's all going well. It's quite easy just to record, and when it goes badly, I just want to get this done. I don't want to mess about with the camera anymore. But that is when you need to have that on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's and that stuck with me. Actually, that's something you said. So, bit of advice you've given has stayed with me.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's the only thing.
I think cheers. I think I nicked that from Graham, the brain rotting guy.
Yeah, from Graham. Oh, good
I think
old Graham.
in the same conversation, that's what he said to me was, when you least want to record it.
That's when you got to do it. Yeah.
Where are we here? Oh yeah, GRS Fleet Graphics. If you could go back in time to the late 70s, early 80s and grab a 2-stroke classic and bring it back, what would you get and why?
For me, that's an easy one. It'd be an RD500. It would be an RD500. My uncle used to have one. He had one brand new. He was into bike. He used to race in the 70s, and that's I think why I've got part of my bike love from.
Yeah.
And he turned up around the house once. I must have been 14, 15, something like that. He turned up on his RD500, and I was like, wow, that's incredible, And he had that bike for a long time, and in the end, it ended up just stuck in the garage with the lawnmower leaning up against it. And it's not even in his garage; in his shed with all like the garden tools rested against it. Not even a cover on it, covered in dust.
Yeah.
And I always said to myself, I must buy it off him one day. That bike, I must buy it off him. But I was always skint. I never had any money. And when I did have a bit of money, I said to him, "Have you still got the bike, Rob?" And he said, "Nah, I sold it. I sold it." And I was like, "Oh." And I bet he would have, at the time they were as cheap as chips. He probably sold that for 800 quid or something, And it's always gutted that I never bought that bike, because I'd love to have one just as standard condition. But what I'd really like to do is to build one up to like a GP rep sort of look, that engine in maybe a more modern looking bike. That would be my ultimate project bike. Absolutely fantastic.
Awesome. Well,
I'd love a 500 stroker.
I've got no knowledge whatsoever of any of the early bikes or 2-strokes. I literally started riding mid 2008, so I think the oldest bike I've ever ridden or owned was I had a K5 J6R1000 for a while.
Oh yeah,
which was great. I had one of them, but that's the oldest I've had.
Yeah. We need to get on some classics, Frizz. We need to get on some classics, don't we?
Do you know what?
Brilliant,
they never used to float my boat at all. I've got to be honest. They never used to float my boat.
Yeah.
But I am finding my taste is changing now, and
It's something to getting
like
older,
them.
isn't it? It's
yeah,
definitely something to do with getting older. You definitely start to appreciate. I was the same. I was like, no, I want the latest and greatest, the fastest, the new stuff. But you realise actually, I don't know if it's something to do with the design, but those old designs they're starting to really look modern almost. And I think this is why there's a big sort of insurgence at the moment with people doing up 80s bike. And you can't even get a cheap 80s bike now. They're just going through the roof. So I would love something from back then. And even the bikes I've had, I think a lot of it is a nostalgia thing. If you used to have one as a kid, then of course you want one again now, don't you? But I would like some sort of 80s project bike at some point. If I had it's the space thing again. If I had the room, there'd be an 80s project going on.
I think we all know what's coming soon, folks, don't we? In the Chops' garage, it's going to be happening, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be nice. Need more space though.
It's going to happen.
I'd have to get rid of something to get something.
It's plainly going to happen.
That would be great. It would be great.
Pete Morris, have you ever upset a manufacturer with one of your reviews, and has it caused any issues getting more bikes to test or kit to try?
Not really, because I think it's just a case of being honest, isn't it? I think if you're honest, they can't deny that what you've said wasn't fair. I think as long as you back it up with the reasons
absolutely.
you think, and we're very lucky that there isn't any bad bikes these days anyway. All the bike, the day of the absolute dog bike, I think, is gone.
Seems to be,
it does. I mean, we don't just, if something was terrible, then you'd have to say, honestly, this isn't my cup of tea. And I have said stuff I didn't like. The Fireblade. What year was it? I think it was 2015 Fireblade. When that came out, Honda was saying it was the brand new blade. It's all new.
Yeah.
I borrowed one. It was like, this is the same frame as the old bike, the same wheels, and I did give it a little bit of a slating, and I got a lot of hate in the comments because all from the I mean, I had a blade though. I'm a Honda guy, but I was so disappointed that it wasn't a new bike. It was just a rehash of the 2008 bike, and I did give it a bit of a slamming, and that was from a Honda dealer local to me, and they never let me back again.
Did they not?
No, they weren't happy that I'd given it a bit of a slating.
But you have to be though. You have to be careful with this sort of stuff because it's your. I've covered this before. It's your integrity at the end of the day, and ultimately that's all we've got. That's all we've got on our channels is how do people relate to you and do they trust you?
Yeah.
And if you say something's great and it plainly isn't, and people spend their hard-earned money going out to either get that bike or get those set of tyres or that bit of kit, and ultimately it's crap, then, well, they are never, ever going to trust anything that you say ever again, are they? So
I completely agree.
I kind of think integrity is the one thing that we have in life, and it's the one thing you've got control of, isn't it? So, like you said, as long as you justify, give reasons for why you like something or don't like something, then
agreed.
What else can you ask from somebody? That's it. And it is personal choice at the end of the day, isn't it? Tyres are a prime example. A tyre that you think's awesome, I might not be able to ride on it, but conversely, I might find a tyre that's awesome for me, gives me all the confidence in the world, but you might think it's like riding on marbles. It's just one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So just stay true to yourself, Pete. Stay true to yourself. What we got here?
Are we still on the Patreon ones?
Yeah, these are still. There was like 50 odd Patreon ones. Yeah. RZ Ted, we're nearly done actually on Patreon. RZ Ted, for either of you, our producer. TMF hands you an envelope.
If only.
You open it, and inside you find the following challenge. You've got $3,000, and you've got to pick a bike to conduct round 2 of planes versus bikes. Which do you choose? $3,000, bikes versus planes.
It's got to be something quick, obviously, isn't it? It's got to be fair. As long as it does 70 miles an hour, I suppose. I think I'd go for probably a Blade or a GSXR, whatever you could afford for around the $3,000 mark, whatever age that would be, 2005 or something like that, maybe.
Right.
I think it'd be a sports bike. It'd have to be a sports bike.
I've thought about this. As in, over the last couple of minutes, I've thought about it because I said something similar to you on Friday when we did this the first time.
Yeah.
But now thinking about it, I genuinely, there were a couple of bits where I stretched the legs of the GT that I was on, but most of the time when I was filming, I was stuck religiously to the speed because I had to. I was being investigated. So I think I would just buy an old shitter. Just any old shitter that would do the speed limit, and I would like times when I wasn't filming, I'd drag the nuts off it, and the other times I would just puddle along. Because I think any bike could do it.
You're right. For that challenge, any bike
could
do it, couldn't it? It didn't have to be.
If we were riding to, like, I don't know, Monaco or something like that, and race,
story,
you want the fastest thing you could possibly find. Yeah, definitely. But to do what we did, Goodwood to wherever it was, Great Missenden or wherever the hell it was we went to. I can't remember where we went to.
Yeah, I can't remember where it was.
Yeah, it was like, what was it, 60, 70 miles, 80 miles?
White Waltham, wasn't it? White Waltham,
that's it. Good memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we were to do something like that again, then I think I would I would
anything could. And the traffic. Was that the bank? Was that Easter? It was a bank holiday weekend, wasn't it? It wasn't the Easter one we did. It was. It must have been.
I think it was more into summer.
Wasn't Easter? August must have been. Yeah. Maybe
it was August.
It was the bank holiday weekend, so there was a lot of traffic on the road anyway,
that's right.
Wasn't there?
Yeah, that's right.
So if we were doing it in the middle of the night, or doing it now during lockdown, there's nothing on the roads. It might be a different story.
yeah, definitely. yeah, the cheapest H2 I can find. Yeah. Okay, Paul Jackson. This is the last Patreon one. What's the best bike you've ever owned, and why don't you own it anymore?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it? Oh, the best bike I've ever owned.
For me, best bike I've ever owned for me is the GSX-R 1000 that's sat in my garage now, just because
that's got
it's a Gixxer Thou and it took me around the world. Love it. And I don't ride it anymore because A, I want to keep it the way it was when I finished the trip, and B, to get it back on the road to pass the MOT, I would need to change the fairings. It would need quite a bit of work in the to put new fluids in all the forks, redo the rear shock, because it's all just been sat there for so long. And I just want to keep the bike the way it was when I finished. What about you, Chops?
Yeah, I don't know. That is a really good question, actually. The best bike I always really loved my 701. That's probably the bike I most regretted.
You talk about the 701 a lot in your vids.
Yeah. That 701, I did quite a lot to it, and I really liked that bike. And I swapped that. The guy, I didn't sell it, but we did a swap. The guy had my Super Duke, so he said, I quite like a Super Duke, do you want to do a swap? And I was like, and we sort of swapped, and I gave him some money. But yeah, that's the bike I missed the most, I think, because not only because I didn't have a supermoto at all, so I just had no supermoto, and I think I missed not having a supermoto.
Right.
So I think it would be the 701. Yeah, but now I've got two supermotos now. So. Yeah.
That's a nice bike.
I think that's probably the best. Yeah, I think because you borrowed the standard one, didn't you, last year? Because I had the SP. I want to do an SP versus the standard one video.
Okay.
That was a video I had planned for this year, which whether it'll happen or not now, I don't know. But yeah, I do like the Hyper. But yeah, I think probably the 701 would be the best bike I've had, which I miss the most.
Cool.
Yeah, there we go.
Right, that'll do for the clan ones on Patreon. We're now on
some good questions,
Instagram. TeapotOne Insta, if you're not following, make sure you do. I'll put links to Chops' social media and his channel and everything at the end as well, so make sure you share some love there, please, folks.
Top man.
Right, Kazaa123, how did you come up with your names?
Well, this is quite an easy one for me. I used to be into gaming, as we mentioned before, sort of early PC gaming. None of this before the internet. We used to lug our PCs around people's houses and set them all up on a little LAN network. And this used to be we did a one on a Wednesday evening. So, and I used to have quite big sideburns before the beard. And someone said, "They look like bloody lamb chops on the side of your face." And then that sort of stuck as a gaming tag for when we were doing games and stuff. So, lamb chops. So when I started the channel, well, I think I said before this one, didn't I? The channel wasn't even called Lamb Chops Rise to start with. When I had the garage videos, it was called something. I can't remember what it was called. It was called something else. So if anyone can remember what my channel was called, if I got any long watching subscribers, it wasn't called Lamb Chops Rides. It was called something else. But then I thought I don't know if it was even lamb chops. I can't even remember that much. But then I thought lamb chops rides, because of my lamb chops. But now you think, well, that's a bit silly now, isn't it? But it's too late.
It's stuck now, isn't it? Yeah. It's like me, TeapotOne. It's just like, what's that got to do with biking? But
yeah. But it's just what it is now.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, that's it from my gaming days.
For me, TeapotOne. TeapotOne. Obviously, I used to be a copper in the Met in London, and TeapotOne is, I don't know if it still exists, but it was a mobile T-wagon that used to be deployed to anywhere where there were a lot of coppers deployed for a protracted length of time. So riots, demos, spontaneous events that needed a lot of old bill at them. Then a call would come out over the radio just saying TeapotOne's been deployed, and it just meant Well, A, it meant you knew you were there for the long haul. I mean, you had a long day ahead. And two, it meant that you'd get sort of 10, 15 minutes off the front line. You could take off, if you're in the riot kit, you could take the riot kit off, have a fag if you smoked, have a cup of tea, cup of coffee, biscuit, get your head together, have a breather, and then back in on the front line again.
And this T-Wagon was all done up, blues and twos,
It
all
genuinely
lights,
is.
all,
I don't think it had
and
blues
it
and
was just a
twos.
T-Wagon.
I don't think it had the sirens and the lights, but it was white. It was a jam jar, so it was white with the fluorescent orange stripes down the side. Yeah.
Was it? And on the back it had mind that copper. Mind that copper.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Slow police. Yeah, I'll have a 99, please. So that's what, because I was taking a break from the old bill, one of my mates in the job just said, well, why don't you call it TeapotOne? Because you're taking a break, and that was that. So that was it, TeapotOne.
That's a good name. I think it's great, Teapot. I think your mine's rubbish. Lamb Chop's Rise is rubbish, but TeapotOne, I think that is it's really unique, isn't it? And,
but they're names that are they're just synonymous now, aren't they? They just stick.
Yeah, I know.
Now. And you don't think anything of it anymore. It's just who you are. It's your brand.
It's it. Yeah.
What do we have here? After lockdown, Andy B3. Andy Benge, I think it is, Andy V3NG. After lockdown, please can you arrange a meet-up at Rikers with all of us, TMF, Richie Vida, Chopsy, Mr. Fish and me. Well,
that would be great,
I think, because Mr. Fish, he was supposed to be doing he does a beginning of season and end of season.
I was going to be going to that one as well. Yeah.
So I was going to be at that one this year. So I think we might actually, if Mr. Fish is going to do one, then we could maybe all try and arrange to be there.
I tell you, at the moment, anything sounds good, doesn't it?
Does
Anything that getting out of the house and doing any sort of meet. I mean, I don't know when this all goes away, it's not going to all go away completely all at once. So I think there's going to be a stage of being allowed out, but still trying to distance yourself from people, of course.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be the end of the year until we can responsibly organise any sort of gathering of people of that sort of scale. But I think you're right. I think we definitely need to do something like that. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
A freedom ride.
Yeah, freedom ride. Yeah.
We will do that, Andy. We will get on the case with that, mate. But I don't know when it's going to be because we just don't know.
It may even be next year until you can actually do a meeting of group of people meeting like that.
That is such a depressing thought, isn't it?
It really is, isn't it? Isn't it just?
I'm kind of partly because I've got a vested interest because I have my tours, and I can lose a lot of my income if I lose these tours, and that's income that used to just be extra money, and now I rely on it. So
now, exactly, yeah.
I'm thinking now it's just like I want this over and done with as quick as possible, like everybody does. But I think you're right. I do think by the time we can have mass meetups and proper social gatherings, you're shaking people's hands and hugging if you want to do that sort of stuff. Will
it ever happen again? Will that ever be?
I mean,
that's what's so worrying. You watch when you're watching the telly and you see things on telly, you're like, well, they're not 2 meters apart.
Yeah.
It's just. I think people's whole attitude after this, it could have changed. Hugging.
I hate to think
not. I hate to think not, but. And it depends how long this goes on for as well, because I think there's going to be a lot of people with long-standing sort of mental health issues and worries about leaving the house, sort of agoraphobia. Yeah. You've got a lot of people getting that now.
Yeah. What's the one about cleaning? People that are like...
I'm waiting for Mrs. Chops to get that. She hasn't had that yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, my missus definitely doesn't have that. Yeah. But like...
OCD.
OCD about cleaning, because we're all so used to washing our hands for like 20, staying alive.
Yeah, exactly. My hands are so dry. Yeah, they've never been so clean. They've never been so clean. Yeah.
And it's literally
that sort of thing.
You touch something and you wash your hands, or you touch something and it's hand sanitizer. It's that sort of stuff is now becoming ingrained. And is that going to stay?
Yeah.
You just don't know, do you?
Yeah, no.
I would hate to.
Isn't it?
I would hate to lose. What I love about the biking world, and in particular the overland world, like the adventure travel world, is that it's it was so alien to my usual, like in the old bill, my sort of old life we take the piss out of everybody and anybody. Like the Mickey taking was merciless.
I can imagine. Yeah.
But it was very insular. You know, we stayed together, but we didn't really welcome anyone else from outside because it's a defence mechanism. Because you develop quite a sick sense of humour because of what I've covered this before. All emergency services, military, things like that. Everyone has a very warped sense of humour because you have to deal with some of the stuff that you have to deal with. And normal people don't really get that. Some do, but normal people generally don't get when you're taking the piss out of certain certain situations and things. Normal people are like horrified by it, but those in the services get it. And just because in the old bill in particular, you're constantly on the defensive because you're constantly, people are always trying to get one over on you. They're always lying to you. So you become very sceptical and untrustworthy. Not untrustworthy, untrusting. It was really refreshing for me to come out that world and do my world trip where I was now out of my old world, and now I was in a situation where I had to embrace total strangers. I had to welcome them into my life and be welcomed and ingratiated into their life, you know. And that trust thing, and realizing that actually most people are fantastic, most people are amazing, you know, they're nice, normal people. Whereas my previous experience, people weren't like that because I didn't.
Dealing with
I was dealing with a total different end of the spectrum.
Of course,
Going into that overland world, you know, I would turn up at like the overland event, which is a really good yearly or twice yearly event I sort of present at now. And that world, you know, everyone, no matter what sex you are, what race, creed, colour, religion, whether you're man, woman, don't want to decide what you are, you know, it doesn't matter. None of that matters at all. And everyone's really tactile, everyone's hugging and they're really expressive, and I loved that, you know, and that sort of stuff I used to look at going, what? Whereas now I really like that, and I would hate to lose that sort of openness, you know, like if we end up having to distance ourselves again, it would be horrible to lose all that. But who knows what's going to happen.
I do agree. Yeah. That's it, and the longer it goes on, the more attitudes are going to change. I guess one day it'll all be completely back to normal. But
I think the key to it will be some sort of oh God, what's the word? Immunisation or something.
Yeah,
you know, if there's a jab that we can have, like the flu jab, if we can have a jab for COVID-19, or who knows what's going to happen. Eh? Right, what have we got here? Official Mr. Fish. Hey, how you doing? To Chopsy, did you adopt Mr. Pooh?
Mr. Pooh, I have Mr. Pooh here. That is Mr. Pooh.
And what is the story behind Mr. Pooh?
We went off-roading, well, it must be a couple of months ago now, with Pete from Hippo Drones, Mr. Fish, and we all filled up at the garage next to Lumi's, the BP garage there, and they were selling these rubber poos, and of course, all being children, we couldn't resist buying a couple of poos. So nice. that is Mr. Pooh, and Excellent. He lives on the shelf now.
So he now has a new home.
His new home.
Oh, he's got one for me as well. How can I eat an egg baguette without matting my beard?
It's not possible.
You can't. You just got to embrace it. Just go all in. Just boom, straight in there. Wear the food. Feel the food.
Wear it.
Taste the food. Adam Rose 3133. One for Mr. Chops. Your vids feature spirited riding. Given that one of the carboards got pulled out or got pulled for the vids, and I think banned, does it make you nervous? And how do you balance making the vid interesting and keeping your license? Now that's topical.
That's a really good question, isn't it? That is a really good question, and the answer is yes. It is a worry. Mm-hmm. I know I've become much more careful over the years. I mean, I've actually taken down videos on my channel, old videos, because they showed a lot of excessive speed. I mean, I guess I'm always sort of known for being a bit of a hooligan per se, but it is a worry. I think you have to be very careful, and I think if I go out riding, if you're going out riding doing a review, you have to really leave the cameras rolling all the time, especially if you're syncing up multiple. You can't keep stopping and starting, and so you have to be a little bit careful doing that. And whenever I'm riding, I'm thinking, well, if this, I don't ride. You do a little bit spirited. You can do some acceleration and stuff, and if it's in the right areas, obviously out in the country where there's not many people, but you do have to be careful, and I wouldn't ride excessively fast. But I've calmed down a lot since the old days. I think as your channel becomes more popular, then there's more people watching. There's more people watching that you don't want to be watching, as well as the people you do. I mean, your prime example, with yourself, know. So it's difficult. It is difficult, and I'm very aware of that. And if things do if I go out riding on my own, I used to go out riding with the friends, and I'd have the camera on, just if we go out for a normal Sunday morning thrash about. And even back then, you think, at times in that video, and the problem with it is, you're not only incriminating yourself,
it's other people. You're
incriminating the people you're riding with as well.
Yeah.
And that would be the problem. If something happened and you got, I did it, put my hands up, but it's the other people you could be getting in trouble. So if I'm out riding with someone and they've got the camera on, you think, well, really, I don't really want you recording me riding, because, I think it's difficult. I think if there was an accident, of course, those cameras get seized, don't they, by the police, and they're looking. That's how. So the answer is, it is a worry, and you've got to be very careful. And in my videos, I'll show maybe a little bit, but then I'll cut away, and you won't show any sort of prolonged speed. So you do have to be careful. But I'm not as crazy as I used to be.
I totally agree with everything you said there. It's but I know firsthand. Ultimately, my channel cost me my job. But thankfully, that was something I was thinking of doing anyway, and it just sort of forced my hand to make the jump. But ultimately, I lost my job because of it. But I think we have a bit of a personal responsibility really now, because we are sort of more higher profile channels now, and people do look at you. They certainly do look, and I'm sure people will look and go, well, you're doing it, so I'll do it, or you did a certain part of the reason I used to blur my speed out wasn't always because I was going faster than the speed limit. Sometimes I genuinely wasn't, but I would be going quite quick into a bend on, say, a well-known road down here, and I didn't want people thinking, well, you took that bend at that speed, let me see if I can do that.
I can do it.
And I didn't want to set it as some sort of target for people to either go, ooh, I wonder if I can go that fast, or I can go way quicker. Look how quick I can go. So that's part of the reason I blurred it. It wasn't always. Sometimes I was going more than the speed limit, and that's why I blurred it. But what you're right about accidents. It can back you up massively because you've got what happened on camera, but also do not forget that the old bill can and will seize your camera if they stop you and you're involved in any road offence. They can look at your camera and they can look at all the footage in your camera, everything, and they will act if they want to on what they find. So bear that in mind.
You got to be very careful these days.
Absolutely.
And I think especially people in our position, they tend to make examples of you as well.
Yes. 100%.
So anyone like us who is caught or footage is seized, you can expect the book to be thrown at you, basically. And people have been to jail over this.
Yeah, they do.
It's not just points. They try and you can get jail time, which that does seem crazy to me. That, you could potentially go to prison. And at the end of the day, I've seen some of the footage where people have done jail time for, and it's going a little bit quick and in a safe. The speed limit is the speed limit.
Yeah.
But there's putting other people's life. Some of the video you see people overtaking. It's just crazy, ridiculous behaviour. But there is sometimes you can be a little bit spirited, I mean, these bikes are so fast; it doesn't take nothing to be going over the speed limit. But I will never do sort of prolonged high speed. We had a little chat about this the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
I'm not someone, you give a little bit of first couple of gears and a bit of speed, but any more than that, and you can't really do it. That's where track days are for, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have always said, take it easy in the 20s, 30s, 40s, save it for the nationals.
Exactly.
And that's something which we're taught in the old bill, and it's something that the Bike Safe tell members of the public as well. And it's just why I do not understand why people are riding like utter dickheads through the towns and villages and city. On my commute in and out of London, you see it all the time. People just riding like arseholes in the city, and you're like, why jeopardise yourself and bring attention to yourself for riding in the city? Just save it for the nationals and enjoy it when it's safe to do so. Is my opinion, but it's still wrong.
Yeah,
speeding, and you're open to whatever penalties come your way. But it's definitely safer in a better environment, if you know what I mean.
You think, well, if I come off, I'm only going to hurt myself. I have myself to blame. It's going to be my bike that gets smashed up. It's going to be me who's potentially injured or dead. But you don't want to put other people. If you're doing it in towns, you're putting other people at risk, and that's the end of the day. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah. And accidents. I mean, as I found out on the clan ride out vid I did up in the Lake District, I rear-ended a chap, and I was sticking to the speed limits. I had a 2-second gap. I had everything, and it's just I went for the overtake, and then something happened. Pheasant ran out. He hit the brakes. Done. Yeah. And it was, I mean, it's literally in the space of about 6 frames, which filmed at 60 frames a second. That's not a lot of time, and stuff happens. And I was mortified to have hit that bloke. I'm so sorry if you're watching this, man, but I felt horrific for that, because you never go out intending to hurt anybody, and if you do, you're a fucking psychopath. But stuff happens, doesn't it?
No, I agree 100%.
Anyway,
I agree 100%.
Yeah,
move on. That one's
what have we got here? Captain Jambo Man. Can we just acknowledge the thumb sizes here? What? Oh, all right. It's a picture.
Look, it's like,
judging by the faces, they both know there is considerable more mass to lamb chops. It's true. Looking at that picture, I've got a PDW.
I know.
I've got a tiny thumb.
We're going to have a proper thumb off. God, it's a foot away from the camera. Foot away from the camera,
Foot away from the camera.
Foot away from the.
All right, back there.
You can measure them on screen then.
Oh no. Oh no! You know what they say about men with big thumbs?
No, big thumbs.
Big gloves.
Big feet.
That's because yours has been stuck up your arse all the time. That's what that is. Right, another one. Captain Jambo Man. Carrying on from the last podcast, camping and bikes come hand in hand for touring on a budget. I, for one, think the relationship dynamics between you and the lads, Vida, TMF, Andy Mancam, would be exceptionally entertaining if this was combined into a series over all your channels. Would you do this?
Yeah,
and would the camping be? Who would be the camping princess? It's TMF, isn't it? All day long. It's TMF.
Well, we know that one. Yeah, he's already said he doesn't want to go camping, hasn't he?
I think he will. I think he will. I think he'll do it.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, he might do it. He might. He says he will, but will he actually is the thing, isn't it? I'd love to do a camping trip.
Yeah,
I'd love to get all the camping gear on the bike, so you've got your tents, you've got everything, and head off. I think that would be absolute scream.
Well, I've got a little idea which I'll chat to you about off camera. So.
Have you?
Yeah, watch this space. But camping princess, TMF, all day long.
TMF without question. Yeah, without question. Right. I don't mind slumming it. I can slum it.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a great giggle. Whiff 71. Boys, are there new Super Nakeds on the market with over 200 brake horsepower? Just too much power. Is it overkill?
I thought it might have been. I've not tried any. Yet. I should have tried them both. I should have tried the ZH2. Should have been with me, but that was another one I missed out on. But it's hard to say, isn't it, without trying them? I know.
Yeah.
I think you'll be surprised at how smooth and linear
usable
they are.
yeah.
I think how usable that power is, and all obviously the electronics to keep them all in check and stuff. But don't know, but I'm certainly looking forward to finding out.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need 200 brake horsepower.
You don't need
it.
it.
Of course
Oh,
you don't.
God, no.
You don't need a bike that will
You
do
don't need
180 miles an hour. You don't need a bike that will do, well, strictly speaking, you don't need a bike that will do 100 miles an hour. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's perfectly possible to ride a bike like that within the confines of safety, sticking to the speed limits, etc. You can ride a bike like that, and they can be fun to ride. But if you also want to do a track or enjoy yourself a little bit more, then obviously the more power you've got, if you're that way inclined, the more fun it is. But it has to have
tricky, because
it has to have the brakes and the handling to
go with
accommodate that sort of power, because there's no point in having a 200 brake horsepower bike that won't stop or it won't turn. So
and also, you know, a lot of the time when you actually go out and ride, sometimes the lower capacity bikes are more fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that has been discussed a lot before, you know, because you can open them up more, you can use more of the bike's potential.
Yeah.
So could it be that it's just too much, that you're not really... Everyone loves to, you know, they think, oh, the biggest, most powerful bike, that's going to be, you know, going as fast as I can, that's going to be the most fun. But sometimes in reality, it's actually sort of the middleweight bikes, which are the ones where you come away at your ride when you get home and you think, oh, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. And sometimes if you're out on something, a big, powerful bike, you'd be like, just a bit frustrating that you can't open it up, and you know, it's actually more fun on a smaller bike. Says the man with an H2.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's a complete hypocrite.
That's part of the reason I moved from the sports bikes to the adventure bikes, was because the power was more usable on the adventure bike. It's lower down, all the grunts low down, whereas on the Gixxer, the power band doesn't kick in till like 9,000 revs. So there's really there is performance, but there's nothing till you hit 9,000.
I completely agree. A road bike has to have torque. It has to have bottom end pull, and I think that's why the V4 is a great engine, because they give you bags of pull. V twins, obviously, but just the straight four end. The GSXR was good, the new one, because it's got the variable valve timing.
Yeah, I was impressed with the new
torque.
Gixxer.
Yeah. But I think like that, I'm a bit worried about the new Blade, because that is very much a track bike and it's got very little bottom end. And that was one of my criticisms for that Blade video. I got cranked because I said there's nothing there. And everyone said, well, you've got to rev it. Yeah. You can't rev a litre bike on the road. You know, it's just not possible. You're just going ridiculous speeds. You need torque to be able to use a bike on the road. On the track, it's a different story, but for a road bike, it's got to have torque.
Well, I mean, I remember with my Gixxers, I was always, like, my mates always used to wet themselves, because I basically had a twist and go scooter, because I would never be out of second. I was in second gear, maybe third gear, but second gear, you could do 120 mile an hour in second gear. It's insane. Absolutely ridiculous. Whereas you try doing that on a GS, like the GS, I'm in like fourth gear before I know it on the GS. It's bop, 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 straight up. And I just find them, as you said, much more usable, much more fun on the road. Definitely.
Yeah, no, agreed.
But you always need more power.
That's the trouble, isn't it? Power.
Yeah.
Even though you don't need it, you think you need it. That's the problem.
This is it. Oh, this was a topical one. Cronny Biker. Who's the fastest rider and who's the smoothest rider out of the four of us?
Oh, well, I think smooth and fast go together, don't they? I think we had this one on Friday, didn't we? I think if you're smooth, you are automatically fast. I think that gives you speed. And everyone's going to say either me or you, but we know TMF can go faster.
He's a lot faster than
he makes out he can go. I was surprised how far, when we went to Torah last year, I was surprised that he was actually doing a reasonable pace. Yeah. But yeah, it's a tough one. I think between me and you, the fastest, I think.
Yeah.
And I think Richie's also quick.
Yeah, he is.
But I think Richie's a little bit more careful.
Yeah.
He worries more probably about grip and stuff, whereas we'd be like, the tyres can do it. We trust the tyres a bit more perhaps than what Richie does.
I think we'd get more competitive about it. I think.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Richie's Richie is good. He's a good rider, but he's definitely the thinker, whereas we're just like, right, go for it. I can't have you in front.
We'll get the red mist of it, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. we said this before. We should do it. I'd love to do a track day, or like the Ron Aslam School, or the new California Superbike School, whatever that's rebranded as. I would love to do something like that with us lot there.
That would be
all on the same bikes.
So much fun.
Go for it.
Yeah, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
I tell you what is really good. I don't know if you've ever done them. Is the oh my god, not ROSPA. What's the IAM? The IAM Rider Skills Days. Have you ever? Yeah,
I haven't. I did. No, I had a chap contact me as well about if I wanted. One of the instructors said I want to do a video, because I know you did one, didn't you?
I did. I did the one at Thruxton. Yeah. Folks, honestly, it is well worth it. It's not a track day.
Oh, really?
Definitely isn't a track day. It's like a school day. You go. You get split into, or you split yourself up into groups, so you have the really fast right through to the newbies, so you put yourself in whatever group you want to be in, and you basically get 15 to 20 minutes sort of classroom theory input on, they break it all down into like 8 different sections, so like braking, turning in, midpoint, exiting a corner, handling, body weight position, all that sort of stuff.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So you get theory on it, and then you go out and you have an instructor in your group. And you basically, for the first morning sessions, you're just behind the you go behind the instructor and follow what he does for a couple of laps. Then you take it in turns to go in front of the instructor, and he will see what you're doing. So you rotate it every few laps. But then by sort of late morning into the afternoon, if the instructor's happy, certainly in the fast group, if the instructor's happy, he's like, crack on. You can now start overtaking like the other groups.
Oh right, yeah.
Oh man, it's awesome.
It's good fun.
I was on a GS, and on Thruxton, on the back
That's
sort of
fast circuit. Thruxton,
I was flat out 6 gear. I was doing about 125, 130 mile an hour with my knee on the deck on the GS, and you're like, I can't believe this has been allowed. This is mint.
Yeah.
And you've got the instructor behind on a Tuono just going, yeah, go on, give it some. You'd have a giggle on that. It's well
worth
doing.
Good. Yeah. That would be good. The other one we should do is the wheelie school. I reckon the wheelie school would be a good crack of all of us as well.
I'd love to do that.
That would be a really good crack. Yeah.
We've got to make that happen. Wheelie school with us lot would be a giggle. So if there's anyone out there doing a wheelie school, let us know. We'll be up for that. But, I would pay for that. God, I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
Last one on the Instagram ones. Marcus0153. What were your real thoughts? I haven't read this through. Maybe I should have read it through. What were your real thoughts riding behind 2 wheels and a ponytail on your Toro adventure? I think
you made people know what your real thoughts were. Didn't you?
I think it was either Andy or me. One of us said exactly that. Nice views around here.
Yeah.
No, she's lovely. 2 wheels and a ponytail's lovely. Mental, crazy. She is mental.
A
bundle of energy, isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
God,
too much for me. She's quick. She's a quick rider.
Yeah, she's
quick on a bike.
Mm.
She is. Yeah.
But I used to think, she's quick because she's never had an off. She's plainly never had a bad crash. Well, she has. In fact, she's injured at the moment, but she's still quick. Really quick.
Yeah. She is quick. Yeah. Like you say, mad as box of frogs.
Yeah, definitely. It's annoying that. Gorgeous and can ride a bike. You can't compete, can you? You can't compete.
Well, you can't, Bruce, but I don't know.
Oh, yes. Right, let's move on to Facebook. Are you okay for time, mate? What time are we at now?
Yeah, what is it? Yeah, I think, what's the
time? We've been going about an hour and a half, I think.
Yeah.
No, 2 hours. About 2 hours we've been going now.
Yeah, okay, mate.
Are you alright for time?
I'm fine. I'm fine, mate. Carry on.
Okay, mate. Right, we're on to the Facebook questions. Mark Abo Abbott. One for you, Bruce. Your inspiration for your epic round-the-world trip was your wonderful mum. My question is this. Did your mum have a favourite destination in the world that... Oh, we did cover this, didn't we? That she has been to or would have loved to have gone to? And if so, did you get the chance to go on your trip to that place? Yes, my mum always wanted to go to Australia, never got the chance to go, and I did. I went there on my trip and loved it. I'd love to go back to Oz. I really would love to go. I don't know if I'll be allowed back in because I had a slight run-in with Victoria State Police, But we'll see.
God.
That's enough said about that. What about you, Chops? You got a? Well, you've already said, haven't you? Route 66.
Yeah, Route 66 for me. Yeah, that'd be the top of my list to do that. Yeah,
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Cheers for that, Mark. Right, Philip Shard. Bruce, have you... Oh, sorry, mate, this one's for me. Bruce, have you toured through Sweden, as the back roads are near to empty with wonderful views? What would be your favourite bike other than a GS if you're riding two up? Oh, and he's got one for you as well, Chops, so we'll cover all that. Lamb Chops, I'm 6'2", 106 kilos, and I still ride hard at 70 years of age. What difference is there between the new Tiger 900 because he has a 1050 Tiger? All right, so quickly my one, Sweden. I passed through Sweden on the trip, but I didn't really spend any time there. I would love to go back because I've had a good friend that lived there for quite a while and he loved it. So Sweden's on my list. Nice and easy for us to get to too. Chops, Tiger 900. Have you ridden that?
Yeah, I've ridden it recently. Actually, I had it for a week or so. Very good. That new the cross plane or the T crank, I think they call it, but it's like the Yamaha R1 sort of cross plane. It definitely brings a lot more character to that engine. No more power or more torque, more pull, but no more power at the top. But I think it's a really nice bike, the 900, and I think you should definitely try one.
How did you find it then? Because you're about my height as well.
It's really comfortable, and it's not too big. The thing like the Africa Twin and even the GS as well, they're so big. They're such big bikes. When I got one of those in the garage, it takes up the whole garage. But the 900 isn't as big to manoeuvre, but when you're riding it, it seems as big, if you see what I mean. So it's still got a lot of, it's very comfortable to ride. It's actually more comfortable to ride than the GS, but it's a less sporty position, more comfort.
Oh,
I would have preferred it to be a bit more sporty like the GS, but it's definitely more comfort. But yeah, it's a lovely bike. Really, really nice bike.
Nice one. Gavin Fraser. Do you use your intercoms to communicate with other riders on tours as well as vlogging? Plus, is it just me, but when in a group ride, is there always someone having a mishap?
Well, in your groups, it's normally you.
Yeah, in my groups, it's normally me. Yeah, I use the intercoms all the time for my tours. I always, if anyone's on especially if they're on pack talks like me, then I'll connect with. If they want to, I'll connect with them because the pack talks are so easy to connect with that mesh. The Bluetooth's a bit of a nightmare, isn't it? You end up with that. It sounds like you're on a building site, doesn't it? It's like a noise all the time. It's horrible.
Sounds like someone's got a brass band with them, doesn't it?
It's weird, yeah. But the mesh talk is really good. The mesh communication's really good. Do you use them? You've got pack talk, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got both. I've got pack talk and I've got various Zenas I've used over the years as well. I think they're great from a safety perspective. If you're out in a group ride, it's a car coming, especially like on the supermotors, we ride a lot of little really tight little back lanes, and there can be grit in the roads, there could be tractors, there could be horses, so if someone's up front and they can just shout out tractor, car, and it brings so much more fun to the ride because you're all chatting as well. So from a safety point of view and from a sort of fun factor, if your battery runs out and you're sort of out of the group, you feel really sort of a bit more isolated. It's quite weird, you do feel isolated. It is. I after using them for years and years, I couldn't really go back to not using one. I'd always have to have an intercom of some description. But the new pack talk's great. The Zenas are good. I've got both because I've got a group of friends who've always had the Zenas.
Right.
And I've not got anyone who's got the pack talks apart from the Womble who had the other one out the 2-pack I had. So it's a bit of a pain because I do prefer the pack talk, but all my friends have got the Zenas. So and obviously the mounting systems on the helmet are not the same. So you've got to think, well, for this helmet I'm going to ride with those guys on the supermoto, so I need a Zena on this helmet. But then, but I prefer the pack talk just for even on your own, like the music and you can do the OK Google thing with it. So. Make sure my phone might go off. I say that. I won't say that again. But yeah, so it's difficult having two different sorts because they are sort of, but it doesn't work very well when you try and do that compatibility between them because it's Bluetooth. As we found out, it's rubbish.
Yeah, so
you need to be one or the other is the problem.
Absolutely,
isn't it?
yeah, definitely. And I think what I've had before is all my mates now have, because I bang the drum about Cardo, basically, about the pack talk. So all my mates have got the Cardo pack talk now. So when we go out for a ride, sometimes there can be 8, 9 of you on there. I mean, I think you can have up to 15 people connected on it.
Can you?
But even with...
I've never had that many.
Even with like 6, 7, 8 people, it just becomes chaos, isn't it, in the end?
Yeah.
Because everyone's talking, screaming, enjoying themselves. And it's just like, shut up, mute. But I do like them. Like you said, it is handy safety-wise, definitely, as well.
Yeah. Especially if you're on the tour and you've got someone at the back, like you say, everyone's at the back.
Yeah, definitely. It would be so good to be able to capture the audio in its good quality. That. As your in-helmet mic, if you could capture the chat audio in a matching quality to what you get from an in-helmet mic, it would be amazing. Because you can Bluetooth it in, and I've even used a redundant Pack Talk Bold unit.
Not as good, is it?
That I've connected to my Zoom, a sound recorder, or you can connect it to your phone and just patch in the audio.
Okay.
But it's still quite tinny. Like the Bluetooth, it comes across as really tinny and mechanical. And it's not like this sort of audio that you get off a mic in the
as rich, is it?
helmet.
I agree completely.
Yeah. So I know there's ways you can do it with splitters by putting a microphone next to the earpiece.
Okay. But, so it's getting. But
I just don't want any of that. Yeah.
Can you imagine it all working though? It'd be like it'd never work, would it? It'd work one time, then it wouldn't be working, and it's just like what a load of aggro.
I am trying at the moment. I'm sort of building a little bit of a relationship with Cardo at the moment, and I am trying to say to them, look, is there any way that you can develop something in your app or something like that where we can do it? Because if you did that, they would have the vlogging market. How cool would that be to be able to capture your audio nice and easily straight off the unit? That would be awesome. So
it would.
Please do it for us. Please
work on that one. We need that. We need that.
Yeah, definitely. What we got here? You still okay for time, mate?
Yeah. No worries.
Okay, Steve Ridsdale. Steve Ridsdale. To you both, on a normal week, how many hours do you spend filming, editing, and doing stuff for the channel?
Oh, it's a lot, isn't it? We had this one on Friday, didn't we? How many videos do you do a week, Bish? Obviously it's up. It's gone up now, isn't it?
Yeah, but purely because I'm doing the podcasts. The podcast is an easy video to edit. Because it's just long form. There's very little editing. So 2. Yeah. That's quite hard, isn't it? I've always said I could do one a week, but I ended up probably doing. Over the month I'm probably doing sort of 6 or so. So some weeks I'll get 2 out, some weeks I'll get 1. But each of those videos, if it's a bike review video, they're quite easy because it's easy,
not too bad. So I'd say it's still a couple of days per video at least, though, isn't it? By the time you've watched the footage back, edited out sections of it, gone through it all. It's probably 3 days a week or something by the time you're saying you're recording something as well. Yeah. So quite a lot of time. Quite a lot of time.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, it's
a day job as well.
It's a full-time job, isn't it? It is.
It is, yeah.
It's our level. It is the worst paid job you're ever going to have because you look at the hours that you put in to what, like, just off of YouTube, the ad revenue. People think you make a fortune. The ad revenue's pathetic, isn't it? It's
if you looked at the time spent compared to what you get, it's you don't do it for the money, do you? Well,
God, no.
You've got to do it for the money now, but
it's my job.
You don't start doing this thinking you're going to be rich, do you? That's the you shouldn't do. If you do, you're going to be seriously disappointed.
Absolutely, yeah. And you've got to be prepared to put the work in because, as you said, Chops, there's a lot of hours. This is a full-time job for me now, and without exception, a general day is at least 12 hours, sometimes maybe 15 hours. And for one trip vid, one of my tour videos, one episode of that, say that's 25 to 30 minutes long, that will take me, I would say, easily a good 4 to 5 days to edit that one episode, sometimes more.
Yeah.
Just because, as I said to you, I can end up with 3, 4, 5 different cameras because you get other people's footage in as well. You've got your phone, you've got the drone stuff. Now we've got Insta360 stuff going on, so you have all of that.
Takes quite a lot of work.
So you've got to the Insta360 stuff. You've got to render that anyway, haven't you, into a MP4 or .movie, whatever format you want to import that into your footage. But then the way I do it, I lay it all out on a storyboard. So I'll end up with 6 or 8 hours of footage, and then you have to cut that down systematically. Just keep going through it and cutting bits and cutting bits and cutting bits and get it down.
It's the rewatching that takes the time, isn't it? You've got to rewatch it to think, well, that doesn't flow very well, or there's too much of a gap. No one's saying anything, so we cut that bit out. And it is, to get a well edited, nice flowing video, it takes a long time. A very long time. Yeah.
There are other people out there, like I watch a lot of normal vloggers, Peter McKinnon's and Matti Hapja and all those sorts of people, and they seem to be able to batter out a 50-minute video. They're editing in like a day, and you're like, oh my god, how are you doing that? But then I think I said this to you on Friday when we had a chat. When I've done a more traditional vlog style video, nothing to do with bikes, but more vlog style, I've really enjoyed that, and I've managed to edit them fairly quickly. It's only taken me a day or so to do it. So I think the biking's maybe a little bit trickier because there's so much more going on in it, I think. I don't know.
Could be right. Yeah, you could be right. Yeah, I'd agree. The garage stuff also doesn't take that long as well.
That's right.
Nice. Quite easy to put together. So yeah, some of the riding ones, when you've got multiple cameras and stuff, that's what eats into the time, isn't it?
Yeah,
it
definitely.
Really is.
Yeah. Right,
Bruce, I'm going to have to make a move in a minute, mate. Another question.
Right, I'll go right down the list in the Facebook thing because we never got to the bottom of it.
Find a good one. We didn't.
So I'll just have a quick read through.
No.
Okay, here's an interesting one. Graham Smith. There's a new law which bans, this is hypothetical, there's a new law which bans all bikes over 125cc. Would you still ride?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Still ride.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Absolutely.
Ride. Yeah, definitely still ride. What would it be though? What sort of bike would you? Much of an adventure bike on a 125? I don't know. Not going to carry much luggage on it.
I've got a thing. Well, I don't know if it's going to happen now. It will happen, but it was supposed to happen in June. I was supposed to be taking the Sinis 125 Terrain, which is basically the 125cc GS, more or less. Sinis are a British make, aren't they? And they have this 125cc adventure bike. So I was going to be doing something on that in June, and I was really quite interested to see what that was going to be like, to be honest. It's quite a big ride, and I was interested to see what would happen.
Was you? Could it do
I think engine size, it has an impact for sure, but you can still have fun, definitely. Yeah, and you can always tweak things, can't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you'd have to, wouldn't you? Yeah, no, it'd definitely be an off-roader because, of course, you can still do off-road.
Oh yeah.
A 125 would be fine for doing off-road stuff on, so that wouldn't be an issue. Wouldn't really have much impact on the off-road stuff. But I think like the GSX S 125, that is quite. I don't know if you've tried one.
No, never.
That's that's only a 125. It's comfortable. Yeah, absolutely. 125. You'd definitely still ride, wouldn't you, without question?
Oh God, yeah. That's your only option, yeah. Just, I mean, I would ride a push bike if that was my only option. Might not do 1,000 miles in a day, but I would do. But I wouldn't wear lycra like TMF did.
I think I think it was leather, those pants he had on.
It was
I think
what?
they were like leather pants.
Were
There
they?
were leather pants in his photo. Yeah, it wasn't lycra. I think there was some sort of leather pleather leggings. I think they were.
Oh,
From
yeah,
probably
yeah,
one of his
yeah.
daughters.
From his other occupation.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Oh,
All right then,
dear.
chops. Well, that'll do us then, bud. That's
Yeah,
been about
enjoyed
2.5
that, mate.
hours.
Yeah.
Top
It
man.
has. It's amazing where the time goes, isn't it? It's just
It flies by.
It's just incredible. It's just incredible. You'd think you say to somebody you're going to sit down and have a chat for 2.5 hours. You'd be like,
I know.
bloody hell, 2.5 hours, but it just flies by. Well, that's 5 hours because we've been through a lot
I
of
know.
those months
I know.
already.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we've been
Blimey.
a 5-hour chat we've had.
And it's a bit of a novelty doing it fueled with orange. With
yeah,
blackcurrant
no beer.
and a cup of coffee.
I think we did quite well considering there was no beer involved.
Mate,
And the Sunday morning.
I wish you and your family the very best, mate. Stay
Yeah.
safe, and
Thanks, mate.
I
Same to
cannot
you.
wait for this to be over so we can meet up
Oh, me too.
and
Meet up, have a ride.
enjoy.
Have a chat in person, mate. Yeah,
Oh,
can't
It
wait.
will be back.
Can't
We will
wait.
get back to it.
Oh, it will. It will be back. It will be back.
Cool.
Oh,
Right, folks. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Don't forget to head over to Mr. Chops' channel there. I'll leave the link down below, Lamb Chop Rides. Share some love. Give him a little follow, subscription, etc., etc. Right, folks. That's us
Thanks,
for
guys.
this week. Look after yourselves. I hope you're coping okay with this. And thank you for all the feedback on the podcasts. It's great to hear you're enjoying them. All right. Stay safe. Stay home. Keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. But remember, live your life.